All right, guys, welcome back to yet another stream. Appreciate you guys being here as always. Appreciate everybody waiting patiently in the chat and waiting for me to arrive. As I always tell you guys, I like to get a couple minutes of some member credits. Not only show off the members, but to give me a couple minutes, get everything sorted, let people file in. So thank you guys so much for being here. We we had a fun day yesterday. It was a very interesting day. Probably one of the more interesting streams in a long time. And yeah, it's not over yet. That's the thing. This isn't over yet because, as you can see by my title of this stream, Microsoft is going absolutely berserk right now. They are straight up punching air. They are trying to bully and practically threaten the UK government. They're trying to get the UK government to submit to the power of Microsoft, and it's getting kind of crazy out here. I gotta admit, it's getting kind of crazy out here, and I think I just can't help but laugh a little bit because I just imagine Jim Ryan and Sony just kind of watching from afar, just maybe cracking a little smile and taking a puff of a cigar, right? Yeah, Jim Ryan slowly eats popcorn. Yeah, so we have a couple of updates that I want to go over and talk about with you guys. I do think that this is worth covering because it's honestly kind of, I don't want to say it's surprising. I don't want to say it's surprising because Microsoft has been incredibly aggressive up until this point, and I guess I wasn't really expecting them to stop being so aggressive. I think what's surprising is that Microsoft seems to believe that they're going to be able to basically bully the UK government, and this is I mean, let's be real right now. This is by far the most desperate we have seen Microsoft get in this during this whole situation. So we're gonna go over that momentarily here and do a deep dive discussion of that. And there's some other things we're going to be talking about as well. For example, we're going to discuss the fact that if you are an Xbox player who, for some reason, is willing to pay $70 for Redfall, and you get a physical copy of it, you're gonna get confirmation on the back of that box. If you look at the features, it'll tell you 60 FPS. You can play it at 60 FPS, but then there's actually a sticker on the box that says 60 FPS performance not available on launch or at launch. Pretty wild, pretty crazy. We're going to talk about some PlayStation stuff as well. PlayStation is making some announcements of their own, although nothing major, nothing too significant. But we're going to talk about that as well. And so before I dive into it, as always, I just want to give you guys the whole thing here. If you want to support the channel, as I always say, just viewing the content, watching my videos, watching the streams, obviously that matters tremendously. Hitting the like button, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button. That helps the content. If you want to go above and beyond, as many people have done and continue to do to help support my content, to help support the channel, and allow me to basically continue to create free content, right? Consider donating a super chat. Consider becoming a channel member. And if you are already a channel member, consider gifting channel memberships. This is something that I have been pushing quite a bit. You're saying the Order 1886? Yes, I'm wearing an Order 1886 shirt. Shocking, right? It's a shame to see what happened to the studio that made the Order 1886. They got purchased by Meta, or formerly known as Facebook, and then they got gutted. So very, very disturbing to see what happened to the studio. I forget what's the name. What was the name of the studio that did the Order 1886? Ready at Dawn. I think that's the name. Such a shame. Such a shame, man. The Order 1886 absolutely deserved another chance. It deserved a sequel. And I think that they could have done a lot more with it. Very sad. But unfortunately, it seems like that's never going to happen. But yeah, I do want to let you guys know, because there are a lot of members in the chat, and as more people file in, many of them are also likely to be members. And there are probably people who are considering becoming members. I do want to let you know that I did update my member perks. Okay, so now, not here, I'm just going to basically tell you the perks you're going to get if you become a channel member, or if you happen to be gifted a channel membership. The first things off the bat, you're going to get a membership loyalty badge next to your name, and your name is going to be highlighted green in the live chat. Number 2, you're going to get access to custom emojis, which people have been making great use of. And then outside of that, you're going to have your name featured in the member credit scroll during every stream. And I do want to let you guys know, I'm going to have to update that member scroll on a weekly basis, give or take. So if you happen to be like a newer member, or you were gifted recently and you don't see your name on the scroll, don't panic, don't worry. It's going to get updated, and it'll be there in the coming days. So no worries there. Another perk you're going to get, exclusive access to community posts. I post exclusive members only stuff in the community tab. Some of the stuff is pretty funny. And you know, I enjoy engaging with you guys that way. But 2 other perks that have now been added: member only live streams. This is something that my members can expect. It's not going to be all the time, of course, but just know that if you are a member, you will be getting live streams where it's just us hanging out and doing some hopefully interesting things and having some interesting conversations. And then something else that I'm also bringing to the table for my members is you will be given early access to videos. The thing is, I make a lot of videos. I upload a lot of videos, so I can't make the promise that every single video you're going to get early access to, but a lot of them you will get early access to, and it'll give you, basically a chance to consume the content. And most importantly, in the comments section, you'll be able to be the first on the ground, so to speak, in the comment section, and give your thoughts and engage with other members there. So yeah, these are all the perks that are now available to members. We have Astro Gamer gifting a membership as well. So shout out to you for that, Astro Gamer. And yeah, we have been growing the memberships quite a bit, and I figured it was important for me to let everybody know, for those who, are gifting memberships or becoming members, these are the perks you can look forward to. So yeah, shout out to all of my channel members, and shout out to everybody who continues to gift those memberships. So let's dive into this topic. What is going on? What is Microsoft doing? What is Bro doing? I'll tell you what Microsoft is doing. They're going absolutely berserk. So let me break this situation down for you. Okay, I'm gonna try to just break it down for you and simplify it so you have a general understanding of what's going on right now. Victor Grossfelt, I don't know if I said your name correctly, but thank you so much, man. Welcome to Greatness Awaits. We have Victor deciding to join as a channel member. So I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that dedication and that support. Thank you so much for that, Victor. Shout out to you, man. Here's the situation. As many of you already know, yesterday, the seemingly impossible happened. Yesterday, everybody woke up and they thought, well, maybe not everybody, but if you were following this and if you were an Xbox fan, if you're an Activision fan, if you were looking forward to this Activision Blizzard deal being one major step closer to being done, well, you woke up yesterday and you got some pretty devastating news. The news that the CMA has decided to block the acquisition. And the reason why the CMA in particular is so important is because the CMA never loses. What the CMA says goes. And if the CMA decides, sorry, we're blocking this, good luck. Good luck. God save the king. Craig Sargent, thank you so much, man. Yet another membership gifted. I think we actually are at 3 members already. So let me add that here. Shout out to you, Craig Sargent. Absolutely love to see the gifted memberships. We set a new record yesterday. We broke records. It was awesome to see. I'm not expecting anything like that today, but any support you guys show, any membership gifts, thank you so much. The CMA comes out and they say, sorry, we're blocking this. And obviously, we talked all about that yesterday. But in that time, Microsoft has responded. Obviously, the first thing they did, and we discussed this yesterday, is they responded to the CMA. They said to the CMA, like, what are you doing? You guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. You can sense there's some rage building inside of Microsoft and their leadership. And so what is now occurring, okay, and I kid you not, this is literally what's happening right now. Microsoft, the president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, they are coming out and they are raging at the UK. Not the CMA, no, the UK government, the United Kingdom government. They are coming out, punching air, and they are saying this is a huge mistake. They're trying to convince the UK government that they need to step in. Microsoft is trying to convince the UK government that they need to step in and they need to overturn and overrule the CMA, because it's worth noting the CMA is the United Kingdom's regulatory body and they operate independent. They're separate from the UK government. So, technically speaking, the UK government does have the power, if they so decide, to turn to the CMA and say, we are overruling your decision and we are going to allow it to happen. Now, as far as I'm aware, I don't know that this has ever happened before. As far as I'm aware, the UK government has never once turned to the CMA and straight up said, nah. No, the UK government puts their trust in the CMA. And so the UK government is getting kind of pissed at Microsoft. Okay? Here we go. Let's get into some quotes. I thought I had the article up. Let me bring the article up. I want to get into some quotes. This is going to be in my video. Maybe some of you have already seen the video, but if not, you can watch it later. But I have this article from Push Square, and they say in the title, Microsoft goes scorched earth over the UK's Activision buyout block. Okay? Microsoft already tried the charm offensive to get its unfathomable $69 billion buyout of Activision Blizzard past regulators, and now the deal has been blocked by the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, or the CMA. Now, Microsoft has just plain decided to go on the offensive. In an eye-popping interview with BBC, Microsoft President Brad Smith said the move was, quote, bad for Britain, end quote. He then went on to say, quote, this is the darkest day in our 4 decades, end quote, in regards to Microsoft and how they operate in the UK. He says this is the darkest day in our 4 decades. With an appeal pending, but analysts insinuating it's unlikely to shift the opinion of regulators, the trillion-dollar tech titan has turned to heaping political pressure on the UK government instead. Microsoft President Brad Smith said, quote, people are shocked. People are disappointed. And people's confidence in technology in the UK has been severely shaken. There's a clear message here. The European Union is a more attractive place to start a business than the UK. End quote. Of course, the European Union still has its own regulatory process pending, and while it's expected the deal will pass in the continent, the same was said when it comes to the UK up until yesterday. For its part, the UK government issued a direct response to Brad Smith, particularly his words about this decision being, quote, bad for Britain, end quote. A spokesperson for the Prime Minister has said Mr. Smith was wrong to say the CMA's decision was bad for Britain and that the EU was a better place to do business. These sorts of claims are not borne out by the facts, the spokesperson said. The government would continue to engage with Microsoft, he said, but pointed out that the CMA was independent. So, essentially, what's going down right now? Now, I want to point something out that I think is pretty important. Microsoft is out here going berserk, beating their chest, trying to flex, so to speak, on the UK government, poking them, saying, seems like Europe is a better place to do business. Trying to scare them. Trying to make the UK government turn and go, well, uh-oh. It seems our regulatory body hurt Microsoft and made Microsoft mad. We don't want Microsoft. We don't want big bad Microsoft mad at us. We don't want to lose their business. You may be asking yourself, hold on, MBG, am I hearing this right? Are you essentially telling me that Microsoft is basically threatening or low-key threatening an entire government? Yes, that's exactly what Microsoft is doing. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. Microsoft's Brad Smith is insinuating that, you know what? You guys want to block this deal, maybe we just don't do business with you anymore. Maybe Microsoft just doesn't have a presence in the UK. Maybe we just continue on without you. And you better believe the UK, the Prime Minister, the UK government, they are laughing right now. They are laughing. And they are absolutely going to call Microsoft's bluff, because that is 100% what this is. This is a bluff. Notice how Brad Smith only had the audacity, he only had enough audacity to just insinuate, to suggest. He didn't say we're not going to do business. He didn't say we're going to pull out of the UK. Nope. He's just suggesting. And the reason why he is suggesting is because he knows, just as well as everybody else inside of Microsoft knows, just as well as the UK government knows, just as well as everybody watching knows, you're not gonna leave the UK market. You're not gonna pull out of the UK market. Are you kidding me? The UK market is Xbox's second biggest market next to the US. No chance. No chance. Let me tell you, make no mistake, Microsoft cares about this deal. Microsoft cares about getting Activision Blizzard, and they want to fight for it. But do not think for a second that Microsoft cares that much. Because they do not. Because they cannot. Right now, Microsoft is in a position that they put themselves in, which is, we need to buy Activision Blizzard to succeed and to survive. According to Microsoft, they need Activision Blizzard to survive, not to just succeed, but to survive. They put themselves in this position. They do everything they can to try to convince the CMA, the European regulatory body, that We need this. You guys have to approve this. And the UK just says, sorry, we're not buying it. We're shutting it down. So Microsoft gets mad and they think that they have a leg to stand on, and they don't. That's the reality. It's all bark, no bite from Microsoft. Maybe anything is possible. Crazier things have happened. Who knows? Maybe Microsoft will decide we're done. We're done in the UK market. But something tells me that's never going to happen. Something tells me Activision Blizzard isn't worth getting rid of the second most important market for all of Xbox. Seems kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? So while the European Commission may come out next month in May, and they may come out and say, you know what? Go ahead, Microsoft. We approve this. Won't matter. It's not going to matter. Microsoft is trying to insinuate that maybe just maybe we're gonna become friendlier with Europe. How do you like that? Is that what you want, Mike? Is that what you want, UK? You want us to make Europe our good luck, Microsoft. You're gonna go make a dent in Europe. Yeah, I hate to break it to you. You're struggling to make a dent against Sony in your own home turf in the US. You're struggling against Sony in the UK. You're doing even worse in Europe. And yes, I understand that this is what Microsoft uses. This is what they're using to say this is why we need Activision. But again, Sony isn't dominating in Europe by just money-hatting games. See, that's what people would have you believe. People would have you believe that, well, Sony's doing so well because all they do is money-hat games. That's all Sony does. Clearly, that's all Sony does. The only exclusive games that people have went out to go buy PlayStations for are games that are money-hatted. That's it. Just third-party exclusives. You know that's a lie. I know that's a lie. Everybody knows that's a lie. The reason why Sony is dominating in Europe is because they actually decided to care about that territory and do something in that territory. So I don't know what Microsoft thinks they're going to achieve here by trying to bully and push around the UK government. And I sincerely hope the UK government holds strong and does not give in, because that would be the weakest possible thing for them to do. That would be a horrible, horrible signal to send to not only every other government, basically, but to everybody else who is on the UK side, on the CMA side. You'd be sending the message that, look, all these big tech giant companies got to do is just scare you a little bit. Just say a couple things to shake you up. And we'll just crumble and say, you know what? Never mind. We're going to overrule that. Absolutely loving it right now, man. So I did notice, I'm going to get to the super chats. Exley 3000 coming in with another 10 gifts. Thank you so much, Exley. I did not miss it. I just didn't. I wanted to continue my thought, keep it flowing, finish what I had to say. New Soul 9, you're saying, if you have the time, go watch Colt Eastwood's video about the UK deciding to block the deal. He explains it perfectly. Maybe I will. I have a feeling that Colt Eastwood doesn't explain it perfectly. I have a feeling that Colt Eastwood's video somehow is going to, at some point, let me know that the UK and what they're doing, this is actually horrible for the gaming industry, and it's horrible for gamers. I have a distinct feeling that's what Colt Eastwood's going to tell me. You know, I came across a Twitter reply yesterday. Somebody said, you know, MBG, I find it strange that you're so against this. And I turned to that individual and I said, wait a second. You find it strange that I'm against a multi-trillion-dollar corporations walking into the gaming industry and deciding we're going to initiate mass consolidation? I don't see what's surprising about that. What I find surprising is that so many people are just seemingly okay with that. That's what I find surprising. But actually, 3000, big shout out to you for gifting 10 memberships. We are at 13 memberships. Thank you so much for that, Exley. You've been very generous lately when it comes to gifting memberships, and I very much appreciate it. So shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you. William, you're saying, I can't gift memberships. There's no option to, but here's $5 to show some support. Well, I really appreciate that, William. I will let you know if you are trying to gift memberships or if that's something you want to do, but for some reason it's not letting you. The main reason for that might be because you're not on desktop. I know that, or on Android. I think, as if I'm not mistaken, if you're on an Apple device, if you're on an iPhone, unfortunately, the option to gift memberships is not integrated yet. So that could be why. Yeah, you're saying you're on an iPhone. So if that's something you want to do the next time you're on your desktop, or if you're near your desktop or something, it should give you the option to do it, because I see that you are a member. But I still appreciate the super chat, William. Dr. Moda989, you're saying the situation has made me dislike Microsoft even more. That's the thing, man. This is why I'm trying to really... I know people think I'm going on some kind of crusade against Microsoft, but I kind of am. And the reason being is because people need to stop cheering them on. People need to really not be on Microsoft's side here, because Microsoft would have you believe that what they're trying to do... You know, people say I'm closed-minded. I've actually seen people, at least on Twitter, saying that I'm closed-minded because I'm not rooting for Microsoft here, because I want the video game industry to remain in a bad state. Like, the video game industry is not in a bad state. Microsoft is in a bad state, not the gaming industry. I mean, don't get me wrong. The gaming industry is far from perfect, and it definitely has some things it has to work on as a whole, no doubt about that. But I find it just absolutely wild that people are accusing me of being closed-minded because I'm not in support of Microsoft, because I'm just not okay with the idea of a company that has failed to properly compete in the way that they should be, deciding we're just going to buy our way out of this problem. From a business perspective, I get it. No problem. From a business perspective, you're having trouble with your bottom line. You're having trouble managing. You're having trouble all around with your gaming brand. I understand from a business perspective how buying a video game publisher, especially one as big as Activision, is a viable solution. But I put out a tweet today, and guys, I promise I'm going to read your super chats in just a moment, but I want to let the thoughts continue to flow here, lest I forget what I'm saying. Ooh, you know what? Hold on, real quick. Just came across this. I don't follow this individual on Twitter, but sometimes they pop up with some interesting information. The Red Dragon. He posts a tweet less than an hour ago. He says the CMA chief doubles down after Microsoft insinuates they don't understand business. We certainly do know what we're doing, and we performed a thorough investigation over many months. This is the right decision for competition and business. Boom! CMA doubling down. CMA giving the finger to Microsoft. Microsoft insinuates that the CMA doesn't know what they're doing. They don't understand. The CMA doesn't understand. They just don't get it. I would argue most of the other regulatory bodies that just said, go ahead, Microsoft, do what you want. I would argue they don't quite understand because they don't care to understand. If you ask me, the CMA is the only one that actually took months to look everything over, to go over all of the data, not just a section of it, not just gloss it over, not just listen to what people are saying, but to actually look at everything, look at the bigger picture. And it just so happens that the CMA, the only one that decided to take months and months to do that, they happen to come to the conclusion that, yeah, we're not letting this go through. Is that just a coincidence? Is that because the CMA doesn't know what they're doing? They don't understand? No, I would argue the CMA probably understands better than most other regulatory bodies. Because with these other regulatory bodies, they were just in and out, bro. They're just like, okay, yeah, go ahead, Microsoft, no problem. Oh, what's that? Sony's the leader, 80-20. Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. Meanwhile, the CMA is actually like, whoa, hold on, let's do a more thorough investigation here. And I just find it insane that people are siding with Microsoft, that people are willing to try to shit on a regulatory body that has decided to do an extremely thorough investigation. Cloud gaming. Who would have thought cloud gaming, man? But it makes sense, doesn't it? To me, it does. Let me see. Who do I got here? Menelus L is what I'll call you. You're saying, yep, we are paying $79.99 every AAA game that comes out. Well, it depends on your perspective. Truly, it depends on your perspective. If you feel a video game is worth that price, in your case, you're saying you're paying $79.99. If you feel a video game isn't worth that price, don't buy it. That simple. Don't buy it. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you're from a different region. That's why it's $79.99. But it should. I mean, basically, we're talking about $70 AAA games. And my line of thinking is just it's very simple. You're saying it's $79.99 here in Canada? Yeah. MBG, you can take months to do something and still get something wrong. Well, I want to reiterate, it's not just the CMA. The FTC is completely against it as well. The FTC is just against it to a degree where they're like, we're just going to sue Microsoft. This is a war on big tech companies like Microsoft. And I'm all for it. I am not the person that's going to root for trillion-dollar tech companies ever. You know why? Because they do need to be put in check. They do. If it was, people literally have no idea, like, what they're asking for. To just let these companies do what they want. Like, they have no idea what they're asking for. And I'll be honest, that's why so many people are considered sheep and stupid, to be honest. Not everybody, but people don't know. Like, people will settle for shit, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. People will settle for shit. There's a reason why that saying exists. You'll own nothing and you'll like it. Yeah, because most people will like it. Because people don't care. People don't care. That's the fact of the matter. Microsoft knows this. Microsoft wants to exploit this. Every multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar corporation wants to exploit that fact. It's all about conditioning. We want to condition you. People might say, well, isn't that exactly what Sony has done? What? What has Sony done? Condition me to pay for a quality product? Because I'll tell you right now, if Sony came out tomorrow and said, yeah, we're charging $90 for our games because we can, I'd say, fuck you. That's what I'd say. But that's not what Sony's doing. Saying games are $90. I'm from America, so it's not $90 here. Let me see. Josh, you're saying the amount of harassment I've witnessed you go through from the Xbox fan base ever since Microsoft acquired Bethesda is crazy. You earn the right to absolutely torch these clowns at work today, so no IMAX PSVR 2. I mean, to be honest, that's the whole thing, man. Is I'm not even trying to necessarily torch specific people or people who are, have different opinions. Not at all. It's just I just think it's disturbing. Ultimately, like the thing that really disturbs me is that people are so quick and willing to actually believe. And I mean this, like sincerely, that's the whole thing. It's the belief. Like they believe it in their mind that Xbox, that Microsoft corporation cares about giving them a good deal. And they care about you, the consumer. I'm not out here telling you Microsoft doesn't care about you as a consumer, but Sony does. Sony doesn't care either. Sony's not your friend, nor is Microsoft. These are businesses. Microsoft is trying to play the market. They are trying to play the consumer. And the way that they're going to play the consumer, I got to admit, it's in a pretty bulletproof way. And that's why I'm trying so hard to get people to realize that you can't fall for it, man. You gotta hold strong. Because what Microsoft's gonna do, they're gonna come off as the friendliest company ever by doing something that a very friendly, let's say, person would do. They're gonna come in and they're gonna say, you know what? Let me cover that for you. Don't worry about it. I got the tab. I can afford it. No problem. Just come on in. Just come on in. Don't worry. It's going to be cheap. Not going to ask much of you. Just come on in. That's all we would. Just come on in. We just want to get you through the door. And people are actually out here believing that, well, that's all I got to do. I just got to walk through the door. $10 entry fee. And everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be great. I'm sure everything would work out great. I'm sure that if Microsoft could just get Activision Blizzard, get everybody through the Game Pass door, flash forward 10, 15 years from now, I'm sure everything will just be great. Won't it? I mean, things have already been great underneath Microsoft, haven't they? Microsoft has proven they know how to do great things in the video game industry. Things have just been great. It's crazy to me, dude. It's crazy. But I get it. For as crazy as it is for me, I do get it. I do understand that if you are a consumer, you're very likely going to say, dude, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what anybody has to say. Microsoft's giving me a good deal, and they're covering the tab. They're taking the loss. So I don't care. All I'm trying to do is let people know, like, does that sound right to you? Like, does that make sense in your brain? Really? Like, I mean, really think about that. Does it make sense in your brain that a multi-trillion-dollar company that made themselves into a multi-trillion-dollar company, does it make sense in your brain? Does it add up that they want to lose money and they're okay losing money for your sake, the gamer's sake, the consumer's sake? You see, most people, when they think about it for a moment, they'll probably think, you know what, actually, that kind of doesn't make sense. Why is Microsoft so willing to just eat the money, burn the money? For my sake? This is so strange. It's because they have one goal. And even though the goal, yes, initially is we want to get you through the door, we got to convince people, we got to convince the masses. That's the easiest way to do it. We'll cover the tab. We'll give you a great deal, great value. Can't argue that. The real reason is because they want to dominate. They want to dominate. They want to get a stranglehold. What the fuck don't people understand? That is the end game. The end game is not to obtain a stranglehold by being nice. The end game is to pay a little bit up front, lose a little bit up front, maybe lose a lot up front, maybe like $68 billion up front. But once we get into that dominant position, once we take over, once we slowly but surely push Sony and Nintendo out of the picture, and everybody else, suddenly it'll be Microsoft. They'll be the ones dominating. And when they dominate, if they ever get to that dominant position, they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. But no, Microsoft would never do that. Why would Microsoft ever do something like that? Microsoft just wants you, the consumer, to be happy and to pay less. They want you, the gamer, to believe in them, to believe, look, we can deliver good games. I mean, we sure shit can't make good games, but nobody said we can't deliver them. We just got to buy them first. It's wild. $70 a month for Game Pass. No, I don't think it would ever get that bad. No way. But then again, how much is Netflix these days? Isn't Netflix like almost $25 a month now or something? Dude, I remember when I was subscribed to Netflix at one point, it was like $8 a month. Something like that. And now it's like 20 plus. Saying it's definitely going to get to $30 soon. This is right. The thing about the subscription model is just, it's kind of the same thing at the end of the day, or it ultimately is going to become the same thing. And you know what I find so funny is that in order for Microsoft to make their subscription model successful, in order for any subscription model to be successful, whether it's the main driving force or not, they need good content. They need good games. They're like, Microsoft needs high quality games to make their service a success. Maybe Microsoft, I mean, look, I don't doubt it. Microsoft probably does truly believe that the future of the video game industry does lie in the subscription service model. But they have to prove it. And that's the struggle. They have to prove it. And they're really struggling to prove it. First, the struggle came in the form of, we're having trouble making good games. We're having trouble, and then it came in the form of, now we're just having trouble releasing games. It's been like a year and a half since Microsoft has released a AAA video game. Now the trouble is coming in the form of, now we're being told we can't just buy our way to success. God damn it. We tried to make good games, that didn't work. We tried to make more games, that didn't work. Now we're trying to buy games, and now that's not working. There's a reason why Microsoft President Brad Smith is straight up punching air right now. There's a reason for it. And you know what? Maybe it does sound a little unfair. On the surface, like, well, this isn't fair. I mean, if they're having that much of a struggle, why can't you just let them buy them? Well, that's the thing. Nobody's saying Microsoft can't buy studios. Nobody's saying Microsoft can't buy games. Fuck. Nobody's saying Microsoft can't go to Activision right now and say, let's strike a deal. Let's get these games on the Game Pass. We will pay you. We will pay you to make these games exclusive. Nothing, literally nothing is stopping Microsoft from doing that. That's what I'm trying to fucking tell people, man. And they don't get it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to get it through their head. Don't they realize that? What is stopping Microsoft from writing a fucking check to Activision to get Call of Duty into Game Pass? To get any of their games into Game Pass? It's not about getting these games into Game Pass. It's not. It's about dominance. It's about market dominance. And you know how you obtain market dominance in the eyes of Microsoft? Fucking buy them and own them. Why do you think they're so pissed? Why do you think they're so willing to spend $68 billion like it's nothing on Activision Blizzard? But when people like me and others say, well, why not put just a portion of that into other things, into new studios or your current studios? They don't have an answer for that because that's not what they're focused on. What Microsoft is focused on is bottom line results. Not tomorrow, not next month, right now. And the way Microsoft gets bottom line results is not by trusting their own studios, trusting their own management, trusting even their own consumers. It's by trusting in, we can buy Activision. And when we buy Activision, suddenly we're relevant. Suddenly we're in the game, baby. And they're not just trying to be in the game. They're trying to win the game. This is why Sony wanted this thing blocked so badly. This is why Jim Ryan may have been crying, but he had a reason. Clearly, he was crying tears of joy. This is why Sony was so pissed, though. Because Sony isn't stupid. Sony knows full well what Microsoft's true intention is. You don't have to be a genius or a rocket scientist to figure it out. Microsoft wants Sony under their boot. That's what they want. That's what Sony has right now. Sony has Microsoft under their boot. And the sad reality is Sony didn't even have to try. Sony was just walking down the street. And one day, Microsoft's neck just under their boot. Microsoft did it themselves. It's just frustrating, man. It's just so frustrating to still see people out here defending Microsoft when it's like, dude, they're literally threatening the UK government. Are you like, how can you defend these people? How can you be on their side? But that's it. That's how strong that is. Microsoft actually does have a bit of a stranglehold. And that stranglehold actually comes in the form of what I discussed earlier. People are so obsessed with the deal that is Game Pass that they can't look past it. They cannot look past the fact that I was going to get Activision games in Game Pass. I was going to have to no longer pay for Call of Duty and pay for these games. And I know how difficult it is to argue against that. I understand. But that's not competition. That is how the eradication begins. The eradication of the gaming market, the gaming landscape as we know it. And people talk about, well, maybe we need change. That's the way things happen. They evolve and they change. You're right, they do. But they should evolve and change naturally and organically and go in a direction that actually, makes sense to not just the consumer, but the business as well. Because so much shit that Microsoft has been doing doesn't make any business sense whatsoever. It doesn't make business sense to just keep burning money, losing money. Why do you think Brad Smith is so pissed? Brad Smith is so pissed because he's tired of seeing the Xbox brand burning money. That is not how you become a $1 trillion company. Notice how Xbox's stock shot up. Microsoft's stock shot up after this news. Why do you think that is? Because the investors don't want to see Microsoft dumping $68 billion into this. Apparently, the investors seem to believe that Xbox could do just fine without Activision Blizzard. But I would go even further. There's probably quite a few investors in Microsoft that probably want Xbox gone because it's not making money. I think my blood pressure's up. My blood pressure's up, drinking too much coffee. Don't get me wrong, man. I have no problem with a $1 trillion corporation want to cover the bill for me. You eat that money, Microsoft, not me. You can afford it, Microsoft. I have no problem with that. But what I don't appreciate is when there's seemingly a hidden cost associated with it. And that's all I'm trying to get people to take a second to think about is there's a hidden cost. May not be right in front of your face, maybe somewhere down the line, maybe years down the line. But that's, in my opinion, that is, at the very least, maybe not the consumer, because I know the average consumer, I can't expect them to think that far in advance. I can't expect them to care that much. But at least on the enthusiast level, if you are an enthusiast, if you care about the industry to a significant degree, I really am just trying to encourage people to really think hard about the long-term implications, the potential long-term consequences, the long-term repercussions of deciding to say, you know what, I don't want to buy video games anymore. I shouldn't have to buy video games anymore. I'm never paying $70 for a video game. That's crazy. I'm paying $10 a month, and that's the most I'm doing. And that's how I get my games. You might want to really think about where that road leads, because anybody who thinks for a second that Microsoft's going to continue to cover the loss, you're wrong. They're not. They need to make money. The reason why this is so cataclysmic right now for Microsoft is exactly that. Microsoft is they're just not where they need to be. They're not. They haven't been. They haven't been where they need to be. They're still not there after all these years. And they're tired. They're tired, man. They're tired. They're tired of losing, and I don't blame them. But I've been saying, man, like, to me, this is not the way. This is not the way. This is not the way to do it. This is not the way to make it happen. I firmly believe that. Let me see. We got Space D. You're saying, bro, MBG, how many countries have approved the deal versus none? There's zero arguments versus that. UK doesn't know what they are doing. The cloud argument is weak. Well, you know, that's the question, though. I do see people saying the cloud argument is weak. Like, what is the UK going on about saying cloud gaming? But have we actually thought about this? Because I will tell you, when somebody, if somebody says to me, like, hey, there's a pretty good chance that based off of everything we see right now, all of the information we have available to us right now, there's a pretty good chance, like a really good one, that if cloud gaming does end up being like the future of the gaming industry, like way down the line, you know, like this is where it's going to go, and this is how most people are going to end up interacting with video games. This is how, I mean, let's face it, how is Microsoft planning to reach billions of gamers? What about that, right? What about when Phil Spencer says, hey, we want to reach everybody who has a smartphone in their pocket? That's billions of people. How are you going to do that? The cloud. Who else is doing that? No one? Oh, okay. So it's just you. It's just you and your cloud technology. What is Microsoft known for? How is Microsoft a $1 trillion company? Oh, right. Because of the cloud. So I don't, to me, it doesn't sound far-fetched or insane at all to think that a company that has had a history of trying to monopolize would want to monopolize that. Because apparently, I don't know. Look, I'm not a cloud gamer. I don't like cloud gaming. That's just how it is, man. Like, I don't care about cloud gaming. I don't want cloud gaming to ever be the future. But I very well couldn't see myself, 60-year-old MBG, decides he's still playing his PS5. Why is 60-year-old MBG still playing his PlayStation 5 and his PlayStation 6? He never moved on. Oh, because everybody plays on the cloud now. That's how people play games. That does not sound unrealistic to me at all. It sounds scary, but not unrealistic. Cloud gaming ain't the future yet. And you're right, it's not yet. But it has every chance of being the future. And the CMA is focused on that. But hopefully it's not. I mean, look, Space D, I'll be honest with you. If I had to guess why so many other regulatory bodies just passed this no problem, I think it's because they just looked at I think that they just believed what Microsoft told them. They wanted to you want to talk about regulatory bodies not knowing what they're talking about. I bet you most of these regulatory bodies haven't taken they probably are not looking at Xbox's past. Like, why are none of the regulatory bodies saying, like, hey, you tried to win, and you kind of did at one point. You tried to compete, and not only did you compete, but you started to become the market leader at some point. What happened? What went wrong? What is Microsoft's answer to that? Well, Sony bullied us. So Sony, they're unfair, and they paid for exclusives. Maybe the question should be asked, are you sure you didn't do anything to make it this way? To lead to this point? People think I want Xbox to die. Absolutely not. Not even close. No. And I do have a fear at this point. To be honest, I do have a fear of what's going to happen to the Xbox brand now that this thing they're so desperate to get probably isn't going to happen. I genuinely fear what's going to happen to the Xbox brand, because the last thing I want to see is Sony with no competition, because Sony will become the biggest asshole in the world. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. This is why I try to tell people, for as much as we appreciate the things that Sony's doing and we're fans of it, we can't be blinded by the fact that they would very much like to not have competition as well. No doubt about it. But as far as I can tell, the moves that Sony's making at this point are not, they're not, in my opinion, they're not directly uppercutting Microsoft, so to speak. I said earlier that Sony has Microsoft under their boot. It's a bit of an exaggeration, obviously. Sony's just doing what they do, man. Sony's just doing what they've always done. Making strategic moves, building their studios, making games, negotiating partnerships, negotiating deals, all things that Microsoft can do right now and should be doing right now. Microsoft thought that they were just going to roll in and say, you know what, Sony, we're just going to go over your head. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to go over your head. We're not going to meet you on this level. We're going to be on this level, and you can't catch us because you can't afford to. That's what Microsoft thought they were going to do. And I've already seen Xbox fans on Twitter, some of them, saying, you know what? Now that it seems like this deal isn't going to go through, maybe Microsoft should just go scorched earth. And they should just start doing what Sony does and start money-hatting games all over the place. Money had a game here, money had a game there, third-party exclusive here, everywhere for Game Pass. My question to those individuals, why do you think Microsoft hasn't already been doing this? You're saying they do that? Well, we're talking on a grander AAA scale. Of course, Microsoft still does third-party exclusives, but I'm talking like Microsoft decides let's find a way to let's find a way to get let's find a way to get a game like Dead Island 2 exclusive. Hell, let's take it even further. How much would it cost to make Star Wars Jedi Survivor exclusive? How much would that cost? Street Fighter 6. Resident Evil 4. I mean, let's face it, Microsoft is willing to drop $68 billion on Activision. Clearly, they can afford some big AAA third-party exclusives. They can, no doubt. Why are they not doing it? Why? I'll tell you why. I said it earlier, but it's worth reiterating again. They're not doing it because it doesn't align with their end game. Their end game is to not just lock down third-party exclusivity. Their end game is to not do timed exclusivity, where a game is exclusive to the Xbox console and the Xbox ecosystem for a year and then eventually releases on other platforms. That's not their end game, is to dominate, and they're not going to dominate doing that. They're not. They're not going to be able to overtake Sony and Nintendo by doing that. They could get a lot further, but it's not going to be enough. Because you know what they would still be lacking? Do you know what they would still be lacking? They would still be lacking their own competent exclusives from their own studios. I mean, I have tried to express to people, like, you're actually going to sit here with a straight face, with dead serious, with a straight face, look me in the eye, on the internet anyway, and you're going to tell me, yeah, that's right, Xbox in 2018 bought 4 new studios and made a new studio, and then they bought all of Bethesda, all those studios, and all that IP, and you're going to look me dead ass in the face and say, but that ain't enough. Are you kidding me? You can't see what's going on here. New Soul 9 spamming the chat, bro. Come on now. New Soul 9 getting worked up in the chat. It's like, damn, MBG. What am I hearing right now, bro? And Exley 3000, I meant to shout this out earlier, gifting yet another 5 memberships, bringing us up to 18 total. Thank you so much for that, Exley. Very much appreciated. You've been gifting memberships like crazy. Thank you so much. I don't know, man. To me, I look at it as simple as this. I just feel like the gaming industry has worked a certain way for a long time, for many decades. And I feel like Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, they've all worked within that space. They've all had kind of this like unspoken agreement that it's like, you know, we'll make some games exclusive. We'll buy some smaller studios here and there. We'll maybe pay for some timed third-party exclusives, or maybe we'll make them permanent exclusives. But, you know, the big difference between paying for a third-party exclusive game from a third-party publisher, even if you were to make that game exclusive forever, is you're not making all of their games exclusive. You don't have the power to do that. You maybe have enough power to do 1, maybe 2 games, maybe a couple, but you're not. You are not taking autonomy away. You are not taking that decision away from the publisher. The publisher gets to decide how they want to operate and what they want to do, no matter what, going forward. Microsoft wants to take that away and use it to their advantage. And again, from a business perspective, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to do that? But they don't just want to do it on a small scale. They don't even want to do it on a medium scale. Taking Bethesda away from PlayStation, taking Bethesda away from the competition is not enough for Microsoft. No. They need to take Bethesda and they need Activision Blizzard. And yes, I know the whole thing where it's like, well, Activision Blizzard games would have never went away from PlayStation. Yeah, not now. But what would stop Microsoft from taking them away in the future? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And no one or nothing could stop Microsoft at any moment in time in the future from making the decision, you know what? We're going to make these games exclusive. Why? Because we want to dominate, and that's a sure path to domination. You know, like it's just, This is where I don't, like, why do people think that won't happen? Like, I mean, really, why do people think that won't happen at some point in time? People could say, oh, well, you know, like, look at Minecraft. Dude, Minecraft is a game as a service. Okay, Minecraft is like, people who play Minecraft, it's just Minecraft. Minecraft is not Call of Duty. Call of Duty has a yearly release cycle on top of a live service with Warzone. You know, you just can't compare them. They're different. They're genuine, like they're genuinely different in many different respects. And I just think it's I don't know, man. Like, I don't believe that. I do not believe for a second that Microsoft's intention at the end of the day is not to ultimately basically screw Sony over, because why wouldn't it be? You know, like, why would Microsoft's end goal not to be to screw Sony over when Sony is the market leader? And it's not just like, people want to talk about the video game industry like it's some kind of small bubble. It's not. The PlayStation brand is one of the most recognizable brands in the world. The competition goes far beyond just consoles. Yes, that is true. That's always been true. It's truer than ever now. The plays that Microsoft is trying to make with these acquisitions, it's not as simple as people want to believe it is. I mean, I guess in a way it kind of is, but there's more underneath the surface than what Microsoft would want you to see. And those who are who are preaching the loudest about how great Game Pass is and about how great Xbox is, these are the people who either A, have no idea like what the long-term play actually is here, or they B, do have an idea, but they just don't care. And they're definitely not going to focus on that part of it. Crooked Vulture, you're saying UK government should sue them for making industrial threats against them. I mean, dude, it's wild, bro. It's wild. Like, I did not expect to be reading that, you know, like I did not. And you know what's crazy is I've seen people, at least a couple people, there are a couple people who are absolutely on Microsoft's side here, and they're taking to Twitter and all these places, and they're basically like, it's not over yet. Like, Microsoft is they're going to convince the UK government. They're going to make the UK government submit. They're going to make the UK government overturn this. And it's like, dude, you cannot be this delusional. Like, are you, like, really? You know, like, think about, like, I mean, really think about it for a second, though. You know, like, I don't think the UK government is going to take kindly to Microsoft basically lashing out on them, you know, threatening them and you know, just basically trying to shit on them and make them seem like they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing. If anything, Microsoft is making it worse. You know? MBG, look at the movie streaming world. These huge companies are realizing a theater-only release preserves the premium quality of releases. Day and date on Game Pass will prove to be bad. Yep. Both can exist, absolutely. Both can exist. But one, seemingly in the gaming industry, because it's the early days, one would have you believe that it's not trying to eradicate the other. But the reality is right now they're both trying to eradicate each other. I'm telling you, like I've tried saying, if Microsoft could sell their games the same way that Sony does, do you think they would be putting them day and date into Game Pass? Do you think they ever would have? No. They have to now because they've already committed to it. I mean, there's no doubt Starfield would sell millions upon millions of copies at full price for $70, and it might still, surprisingly. We'll have to see. But they would have sold way more if it wasn't launching into Game Pass. And it's launching into Game Pass, ironically, a game that can sell because, well, that's what Microsoft already decided. I mean, Microsoft technically could turn around and say, we're not launching Starfield day and date in the Game Pass. But that wouldn't go very well for them. So they're going to. And I don't know, man. Like, it's wild to think that this is, I don't know, that this is how Microsoft, think about this for a moment, because I think this is an interesting question to ask. Would Microsoft would they have ever considered buying video game publishers if they never created Game Pass? Like, let's say Microsoft decided to stick with the traditional model of selling games and maybe still releasing them on PC, but just basically selling games at full price. Would Microsoft have ever... Here's the thing. They wouldn't have been able to. They wouldn't have been able to. At least I don't think so. Because you have to understand that one of the biggest selling points to these regulators, one of the biggest ways that Microsoft has been able to slide past most of the regulators, except for the UK and the FTC, is because they're out here saying, we plan to, look, we're putting our games everywhere. We're not going to take games away from PlayStation. We're putting our, by basically making it seem like they're going to be multi-platform. And this is why so many people, including Sony and others, have looked at what Microsoft did with Bethesda, and it's like, this is why I'm trying to tell people, like, you think Microsoft that's what you think they are, right? Like, you think they just want everybody to have access to games. They're not trying to kill the competition. Like, they're not trying to take out the competition. They're not trying to monopolize. They're not trying to do any of that. Go look at the way Bethesda was talked about before the deal was finalized. Dude, you could not get an answer from anybody. It was up in the air. Nobody knew. And the reason why Microsoft wasn't going to give an answer was because they want it to be on the... Well, we got to be careful because we don't want to make these games multi-platform. We don't want to do that. Microsoft did not buy Bethesda to make their future games multi-platform. That's not why they bought them. But the reason why Microsoft didn't flat out come out and say, as the regulatory process was going on, there's a reason why they didn't explicitly say, we're going to make these games exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. The reason they didn't do that is because at any point in time, a regulatory body like the CMA or others could have turned to Microsoft and said, we're only going to let you put this through as long as you promise to keep the games multi-platform. But if they had come out and just straight up said, our intention is to make them exclusive, if there was any regulatory body that was going to reject it for that reason, then it's automatically rejected. They're not going to give Microsoft a chance. Microsoft had to give themselves a chance. And luckily for Microsoft, nobody asked. Nobody cared. Everybody basically looked at Microsoft and said, okay, yeah, you guys are struggling. So go ahead, take Bethesda, buy them. They're not nearly as big as something like Activision Blizzard, and do what you will. And what did Microsoft do? Please enlighten me. What did Microsoft do? Did Microsoft turn to the entire gaming industry and say, we love you. We love all gamers. We just care about this industry. No, they said, hey, that Redfall PS5 version, yeah, ice that. Starfield, what are you wasting time on DualSense support? Get that shit out of here. Xbox exclusive. That's what we're doing. Next Elder Scrolls, Xbox exclusive. Next Doom, Xbox exclusive. Next Wolfenstein, Xbox exclusive. But none of this matters, right? Because, well, they own them. They bought them. It's not like they went up to them and paid them copious amounts of money to, sign exclusivity deals. What's the difference at this point? There's no difference. All of those games would have come to PlayStation, and now they won't. But I'm supposed to believe when Microsoft says, in a desperate attempt to convince the regulatory bodies as well as the public, we're not going to make these games exclusive. We're not going to take them away from PlayStation. We're not going to take Call of Duty away. Just sign our 10-year deal. We're not going to take it away. Sign our 3-year deal. Oh, sorry, 10-year deal. We're not going to take it away. No. We would never do that. No. Not good old Microsoft. Sad days, man. Microsoft is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what Microsoft is. The difference between Sony and Microsoft is Sony isn't wearing the sheep's clothing. Sony's a wolf, and they make it known. We're out here to win. We're out here to kick ass. How sad is that? That's pretty sad. And you know what the craziest part is that one's a multi-trillion-dollar company, one's a multi-billion-dollar company. You would think that the wolf, right? The one not in sheep's clothing and just basically saying like, yep, this is what we are. You would think it would be the multi-trillion-dollar company, but it's not. It's the other way around. Man, Sony does it samurai style. Oh, man. Miles, you're saying the UK put the foot down and made it clear Monopoly isn't the game we play. I mean, you got to admit, it is a tough sell, right? Like, it is a tough sell to say, well, Sony has more subscribers on their service than Game Pass. So the whole notion of Game Pass creating a monopoly potentially in the video game service market, that doesn't hold up. And that's why, and the UK knows that. Like, the UK didn't say, well, we're afraid that Microsoft will be able to create a monopoly with their video game service. No, nothing like that. They can't. Microsoft has less subscribers right now than even Sony does. But still, it's like, okay, what else does Microsoft have that no one else has that they could do something with? And the CMA was just like, look, they're gonna, like, here's the question I have. If Microsoft had the ability, the chance, if Microsoft was given the chance to monopolize the cloud gaming market, do you think they would? Or do you think they would not? I think the answer to that question is glaringly obvious. And this is why I don't understand why people are so doubtful. So that's the thing, is if the answer is clearly, oh, they definitely would, then suddenly the CMA's. But you see, the reason why people aren't doing that, the reason why people aren't agreeing with the CMA is because the argument, based off of what I can tell, is, well, we're not anywhere near that yet. Look at what just happened to Google Stadia. Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that Microsoft has this massive cloud infrastructure. They're the only one that is in a position to usher in a future like that. And there's also the high probability that people want to talk about, well, look at all the other industries. Everybody always says, well, look at what happened to services in other industries, like Spotify, Netflix, so on and so forth. Yeah, and what else came along with that? Say it with me. Cloud streaming. So, as far as I'm concerned, the CMA is not wrong. The CMA is probably identifying something that nobody else is willing to put their foot down on and say, dude, at any moment, these guys could decide the cloud is what is going to be their main focus in gaming. And if Microsoft does that, there's no one else. There's no one else. I mean, it's kind of ironic, because if Google Stadia was still around, that would if Google Stadia didn't die, this probably would have went through. And that is funny as hell to think about. That is funny as hell. And I know, like, oh, Microsoft went around making 10-year deals with no-name cloud services that nobody ever heard of. Again, I want to remind everybody, 10-year deal, as in we don't have to renew that. And when that 10 years is up, we can do whatever we want. And they would not renew that deal. And 10 years, I don't know. Let's see, the year 2033. I could see cloud gaming being much more viable in the year 2033 than the year 2023. So maybe this whole time when Microsoft says we're not taking Call of Duty off of PlayStation, they really did mean it. But at the same time, they were probably thinking, but when the cloud future gets here in the next decade or so, hopefully not. I think it's going to take a lot longer than a decade. Amazon Luna, Amazon Luna. I mean, I guess Netflix. Yeah, I mean, these other see, this is where I actually start to get concerned in general, where it's like I don't know, man. Like, I don't even want to see anybody have a chance with the cloud gaming future, because that it's going to be a shitty way to play games, I think. I mean, maybe if the technology gets advanced enough, it can like be almost identical to playing on native hardware, but I don't know, man. You're saying nobody talks about Luna. You know what I think might have really done it for Microsoft though? Like, if I had to guess with the CMA, I think it's the fact that Microsoft as a company, like the way that they've become a multi-trillion-dollar company is through their cloud services with Azure. I mean, it is a dominant force in just cloud technology and cloud computing. And, you know, I can't really blame the CMA for basically saying like, look, we have a really good hunch that you're going to want to like leverage that technology, that like you are already in the lead with cloud technology outside of gaming. The moment you decide at, you know, just by flipping a switch, like now it's our priority in gaming, that could be extremely problematic, because yeah, there is Amazon Luna and Netflix is trying to get someone involved, but neither of these companies, like, you know, they're not cloud infrastructure. I mean, I don't know with Amazon, I'm not familiar enough. Like, I don't know if Amazon is considered like an actual viable competitor to Microsoft in terms of like their cloud infrastructure. Maybe they are. I would have to look into that. But I'm just checking to see what the chat's saying real quick. The issue with cloud gaming is input lag. Saying Amazon is number one. You know what? Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, Amazon's pretty, they are the leader. Okay. Well, maybe at that point, then the only thing I can figure. Oh, you're right. Amazon is number one. Google, that is kind of crazy if you think about it, because Google is apparently ahead of Microsoft in cloud, and Google couldn't even make cloud gaming work. I don't know, man. Maybe the CMA is giving Microsoft the big FU. God damn, maybe this does go beyond. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That is funny in a way, though. Not cloud gaming. Yes, that's true. That is true. You know what it seems like to me? It seems like Microsoft is essentially being punished. Deservedly so. Now, I think if I had to put my money on it at this point, it seems to me that Microsoft is essentially being punished for being the only major video game company that actually has like established market share. Because we can mention Amazon, Luna, and their gaming, and Netflix, but the reality is it's Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo when it comes to the overall market share pie. It seems like the fact that Microsoft is the only one that's like, all right, we're going to start working on this with like xCloud and stuff. And then Google comes in and they're like, and that's the problem. That was the problem with Google is, yes, Google is a top cloud player. And look at what happened, bro. Like, they crashed and burned almost instantaneously. They thought that they were going to walk in big and bad and be like, we're here to usher in the cloud gaming future. And they didn't do so by buying publishers or anything like that. They're just like, we're going to try to just get some games and maybe make our own. And within a couple years, it was dead. And if you look at, again, if you're looking at this from the perspective of a regulatory body, you're looking at the fact, well, the market share is made up of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and, Valve, of course. But what about, like, what's Sony and Nintendo doing in the cloud space? No, nothing? Oh, okay. Well, Google really screwed up with Stadia. Love to see it. Mark Tech, you're saying, all right, I got to get to these super chats. I apologize keeping you guys waiting. Mark Tech, you're saying, that's exactly what Colt said. He even said it will also be bad for Sony somehow. No way. Nah. He didn't say that. You're saying, wait, you're telling me Colt Eastwood said that this deal getting blocked would be bad for Sony. That, okay, that is that's a new one. That is a new one. He said it would even be bad for Sony somehow, that this is all to protect the market leader, etc. Fanboy nonsense. Dude. I don't know, man. I don't see how this is done to protect the market leader. Because what I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if Microsoft's biggest advantage over Sony being the market leader is, well, we have way more money to spend than you do, and we can use that to our advantage. Again, I just have to remind people that, like, that money's still going to be there. Like, it's, you know, if that $68 billion, if it's not spent on Activision Blizzard, it's still there. So I don't think this is about, like, protecting Sony, because it's not like they're, if anything, the only thing this is ensuring, and this is why I'm happy about it, I'll tell you, this is exactly why I'm absolutely on the UK side here, is that people might say, like, oh, this is hurting the UK consumer, this is hurting the gamer. Like, no, dude, this is going to stop. This is going to be the signal that is sent to not just Microsoft, not just Sony, but to Google, to Tencent, to Amazon, to Meta, to anybody, any tech company. The message is going to be sent. You cannot just walk in and buy what you want. You cannot just buy massive video game publishers and own them. You can't do it. And that matters, dude. That matters. I mean, to me, that is not the UK CMA protecting Sony. As far as I'm concerned, that's them actually protecting the consumer. People just don't want to see that. Like, they don't want to see that. You think that at the end of the day, it's like, oh, and I know I in my video, I titled Sony got exactly what they wanted, because they did. But this is very much a situation. You ever see the meme of Homelander? The famous meme where he's like, you know, he slowly starts to look around and smile, where it's like, wait, this is okay? Like, everything's good? You know, like, when he clearly thought it wasn't going to be. That's Sony right now. He was not. I said he, like Sony's Homelander. And that to me, that's where the whole argument falls apart, right? Like the argument that, oh, that they're protecting the market leader. Like, Microsoft is still free to do almost anything they want to do with their money. Like as I said, Microsoft literally nothing is stopping Microsoft except them. Nothing is stopping Microsoft from, when this deal gets fully blocked and it's dead, after they pay Activision Blizzard $3 billion, because they're going to have to. Literally nothing is stopping them from then getting back on the phone, talking to Bobby Kotick, and saying, you know what? Okay, we couldn't get the deal to go through. Let's work on another deal. One that the regulatory bodies can't get in the way of. Nothing is stopping them. Nothing is stopping. Honestly, Microsoft can still make acquisitions after this. That's another thing. Like, the message that is being sent is not, you can't buy any studios anymore. People need to understand, this is why the scale of this acquisition is so important to pay attention to. It's one thing to get Bethesda. That's already pretty big, bigger than pretty much most other things. It's one thing for Sony to buy Bungie and then to buy smaller studios. Those are two separate things, right? Compared to this. This is the largest Like, I'm trying to tell people, man, if Activision Blizzard was allowed to just be bought up, then so is everybody else, and they will be. Once these publishers realize, wait, we can sell and nothing will get in the way. And then once these big multi-trillion-dollar corporations are like, wait, we can buy, we could just get a foothold and nothing will get in the way, just like that. Why do people think that would be a good thing? You want to talk about something that will truly lead to less innovation, more stagnation than we've ever seen? I hate to break it to people. Actually, I love to break it to people. Go look at Activision. They're dying, bro. Activision Blizzard is straight up dying. They lost like 13 million players in the last quarter just for Activision games. And with Blizzard, I think they lost like 18 million players. Let me ask you, at least on the Activision side, because I do have experience with Call of Duty firsthand, why do you think people are leaving? Why do you think people are leaving? All right, when I say dying, I don't mean literally dying. I guess I'm being hyperbolic. I'm just saying they're not in the best position, like as in not the ideal position that they would like to be in. Clearly, if they were, they wouldn't be so willing to just be bought up, but they're still, I mean, Activision will be fine, I think. I think Activision Blizzard is going to be the one that's screwed the most here, but I think they'll be fine. But I guess I'm just trying to say, like, things are stagnating. Things are stagnating. That's the point. Call of Duty is becoming stagnant. People are getting tired. People are getting tired of being spoon-fed the same thing every single year with minimal change. Sometimes no change. And rather than Activision feel that pressure and think, we got to do something new here. Like, we got to figure this out. Maybe we got to make some new games. Saying people are not getting tired, I hope you're wrong about that, because that'd be some bullshit to me. I hope people are getting tired, because they should be getting tired of being spoon-fed the exact same game every year. They should. Rather than feel that pressure of, things are slipping. Might have to change some things up. Might have to make some new games. Might have to try something a little bit different in the Call of Duty universe. Might not be able to just pump out the same thing. No, rather than do that, it's okay. Microsoft, they got our back. They'll bail us out. This is why I'm trying to tell people, like, there's nothing bad about an independent publisher that is beginning to suffer due to their own mistakes, because that's how they learn. That's how they adapt. And that's how we, the consumer, get something better out of them. What do you think happens when an independent video game publisher begins to stagnate? They begin to screw up. And then suddenly they don't have to listen to what the consumer is saying. They don't have to listen to what everybody's saying. They don't have to do any of that. They can just, well, we're going to get bought up and we're going to get the biggest paycheck we ever got. Biggest payday we ever got. So we're good. But even worse than that, somebody might argue, well, even if that happens, well, then it would be Microsoft's responsibility, right? Microsoft has to fix Activision Blizzard. What makes you think Microsoft's going to be capable of doing that? Saying capitalism. Look, man, capitalism can be a great thing, but it can also be a not so great thing at times. That's the thing. Capitalism may be, I think anybody who believes in capitalism, the argument is, well, this is the best we've done so far. Capitalism is the best way to do it based off of everything else, or compared to everything else. And that's probably right. Like, I mean, look, I'm an American. I believe in capitalism. Yeah, I believe in a free market. But at the same time, like, I think there are extreme upper ends. And this is why regulation exists. You're saying savage capitalism is not the same as capitalism. Why are people so triggered and so upset by a little bounce? Right? Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the idea of, hey, like, it turns out that if corporations are allowed to just run the world, the consumer is going to get ultra fucked in the end. You know? Like, the consumer is going to have no power whatsoever. Capitalism with regulation is the best solution. Yes. What's wrong? I mean, I really need to know what is wrong with that. Like, I don't see any problems here. Like, me cheering on Microsoft getting rejected, Activision Blizzard, is not me saying screw capitalism. No, all it's making me do is turn to Microsoft and be like, damn, bro, guess that didn't go as planned. Turns out it ain't going to be that easy for you. So let's go. Get to work. Let's see what you got. Make another move. Take that money, put it into something else, maybe something better. That's how I'm thinking. But I don't know, man. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. Like, where shit starts to get crazy, and I don't usually veer into this territory too much, but here's where shit starts to get real crazy. You have to ask yourself, hold on. I want to read this tweet that I put out, okay? I put this tweet out a couple of hours ago, and I said, I'm sorry, but if you need to fight this desperately to acquire a video game publisher for $68 billion just to get people to subscribe to your service, there is a bigger problem at the core here, okay? I said that, and obviously I got some pushback. And this person says, why don't they just invest that money into their studios and make good games? I don't understand. And I replied to them and I said, Microsoft sees it as being too risky and time consuming. Upper management at Microsoft doesn't care about putting the time or effort into making quality video games. They want bottom line results and they want them now. No one can argue that. Literally no one can argue that. Because that's exactly what they want. Now, here's where things really start to get crazy, right? Somebody then might ask, now I don't know if anybody followed that up and asked this question, but somebody then might ask, well, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, if Microsoft is worth so much money, they have a multi-trillion dollar company. What's the rush? Why are they feel so desperate to start seeing the results? And that's where shit gets scary, because you begin to see how bad things can get. Where yes, if you put two and two together, you just came to the realization that Microsoft is a multi-trillion dollar company that is beholden to their shareholders. Their shareholders, you're saying I don't understand the market? It's as simple as this. Their shareholders, they want more. If there's anything that is not producing the results they want and not continuing to see that $1 trillion mark go higher and higher, and it's never, what I know about the market is it's never enough. That's what I know about the market. And that's obvious. It is never enough. And that is sad, because I think that's such a fair question to ask, where people will ask the question, Microsoft, why won't you just take that $68 billion and invest it from the ground up for Xbox? I mean, really just full scale, like state-of-the-art studios, hiring new talent, funding new IP. I mean, just go all in. They could do that. They could. But let me ask you, do you think their shareholders would be happy? Do you think if upper management at Microsoft turned to the shareholders and said, look, we couldn't get Activision Blizzard. But this is how we're going to invest in the future of gaming from the ground up. You're saying they're literally doing both? No, they're not, dude. Look, Microsoft created a single studio, and I will give them credit for that. That's not easy and that's not cheap. And I hope it works out. But that's not what we're talking about here. I'm simply saying that because it's never enough, because them being a multi-trillion-dollar company doesn't mean that they can just Microsoft in the eyes of the market and in the eyes of big business, Microsoft may be worth trillions of dollars, not just a trillion, trillions of dollars, a literal infinite amount of money. Microsoft, I want you to think about Microsoft right now has an infinite amount of money, but it doesn't matter. Because wait a second, hold on. Then this well-oiled money-making machine that is Microsoft, that Xbox division over there, why are they not making money? Actually, why are they losing money? And when is it going to start making money? That's the problem, man. It's not just a problem for Microsoft. It's the problem in general. It's never enough. Time is money. And Microsoft, unfortunately, has run out of time. At least Xbox has run out of time. And they got to start making money. And I wish it wasn't that way, man. Believe me, I wish it wasn't. That's why I say people think I'm so like. And you know what? You know what the response people give me? The response that they give me, well, you can't do anything about it. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that's just the way it is, man. Hey, you're right. I can't change that. I didn't make the rules. Microsoft didn't make the rules. Doesn't mean that there isn't something screwed up here. There's absolutely something wrong here. And it goes well beyond just Microsoft and just the video game industry. But if I had it my way, you know what I would do? Man, shareholders would hate me. If I had it my way, I'd say, you know what? Hold on. Pump the brakes on that Activision Blizzard deal. I want to really grow our gaming division. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be a long journey, an expensive journey, and it might take years to produce results. But if we get it right, we'll reap the benefit later. It'll happen later. But if we do it right, this could be something that, I mean, fuck, man, Xbox could make it to Sony's position. They could. But their investors don't care about that. And to be fair, I think the biggest thing that's working against Xbox right now, and this is, I think, the hard truth. The market hates long-term plans. Yet here's the hard truth for Xbox. Xbox has reached the long-term status. I think that's the sad part, man. The sad part is that Xbox has been around since what? 2001? 2001. So they've been in it for a long time. And they've been in it for almost as long as Sony. Sony's been around a little bit longer. PlayStation came out in 1994. So PlayStation has been around a little bit longer. But I'll tell you, by like the 20, 21, 22 year mark, PlayStation, they grew things in a different way. You know, they oiled the machine differently, and they laid the foundation a bit differently in a way where, you know, now they're bearing the fruits of their labor, essentially. That's why PlayStation is in the position it's in, because they made decisions a long time ago where it's like, you know, this may be expensive, this may take time, but this is the right investment to make. And if we stick by it and we nurture it, it'll be the thing that grows the biggest. And that's where Sony is right now. And Microsoft didn't do that for some reason. The leadership in the past at Xbox didn't do that. And so this is probably why Microsoft investors are like, guys, you've had like over 20 years. and you still haven't produced the results we want or we expect. What's going on? And unfortunately, this is why Microsoft, this is why Brad Smith has lashed out on the UK government. It's crazy how this shit works, dude. I'll tell you. It's crazy. It's kind of sad. A little bit scary, but it's the way of the world that we live in. And I want it to be known that the same expectation is there for Sony as well. To be fair with this conversation, the same expectation is Sony is also beholden to their shareholders and their investors. And, you know, Sony, they absolutely do not want to, they don't want to regress. It's not enough for Sony either. I don't want to make it sound like it is. I guess I'm just saying that PlayStation is in this very peculiar position where that same truth exists for PlayStation, but they seem to be finding a balance, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And I think that to me is the thing that really stands out about PlayStation is they have a near perfect balance. If you think about it, they have a great affordable console that I do think, yeah, it's next gen, certainly more than capable enough. They have studios, more studios than ever. They're going out there, they're acquiring where it makes sense, but they're also focusing on growing the studios that they've already had. They're nurturing the talent, they're nurturing the IP, they're not rushing things, they're not, they're respecting the creative process. But at the same time, they're trying to grow horizontally, right? They're trying to grow out in other directions. They're not rushing that either. I don't know, man. They're growing PlayStation Plus. They're trying to anyway. I just think that Sony is, they're just fine. It does remind me of like as funny as it sounds, it does remind me of the tortoise and the hare. And even though Sony is in the lead, like I just get this sense with Sony that it's like they don't come off to me as the type of company with the PlayStation brand to be like, we're just gonna like wing it or rush into this and just like, we got to go now and we got to get results right now. I just think that they've taken a more balanced approach. And I think because of that, the results speak for themselves. But, it's also worth noting, another person responded to that tweet of mine and they said, and 49 people upvoted their comment. They said, it must be exhausting to go through life being so negative and cynical. Perhaps if you opened your mind a bit, you would realize that the acquisition of a video game publisher is a strategic move to expand a company's offerings and bring more value to their customers. And so I responded and I said, don't get me wrong, I do get it. Microsoft has failed to deliver consistently, and they need to find a solution. I fully understand why buying a publisher is a solution to them from a business perspective. From my perspective, it's a cop-out. Take that money, start making games, right? Like, I know not everybody's going to agree with that, but this person says, so I guess Sony buying Bungie is a cop-out as well then. Yes. Don't you get it? Rather than Sony deciding we're going to learn the ropes ourselves and figure out through trial and error how to properly make live service games, we're going to buy the talent that already knows how to make live service games, and they're going to help us get there. So we don't have to go through the blood, sweat, and tears. Yes, it is a cop-out. It's buying your way to success. That's what it is. I'm not saying it's the same as a publisher. It's not. But if you're talking about, hey, Sony decided we want to get serious about live service games and we don't feel like we have the time, or maybe we just don't want to take the time and put the money into learning the hard way and going through rough patches. We want to buy the talent. We want to buy the experts that already know how to do it. It's not as respectable. It's just simply not. And I bet that's the thing is I bet these people wouldn't expect me to say that. They would expect me to defend, say, no, it's different. And them buying Bungie's fine. Like, dude, to me, that's not the Sony way, so to speak. That's not the organic way, right? It's not. It's just not. And to try to say it would be disingenuous. Now, is it wrong? Well, I'm thinking about what it's going to lead to. Again, Bungie's different. Bungie isn't Activision Blizzard. I don't think Microsoft... Look, I don't think Sony is going to threaten Microsoft and their market position by buying Bungie. I mean, maybe. We'll see, but... people just get pissed, man. They just don't want to hear it. This person says buying a publisher is hardly a cop-out. Game development is a complex process that requires significant time and resources. Acquiring established studios with proven track records can be a more efficient way to quickly build up a strong lineup of games. See, this person, they're not wrong, but it's like they said it themselves. Game development is a complex process that requires significant time and resources. What does Microsoft have a copious amount of? Pretty much an unlimited amount of. Certainly resources. Do they have unlimited time? Well, last time I checked, these corporations, they're not actual living entities that age out and expire. So as far as I'm concerned, Microsoft has all the time in the world. I'm not saying that means Microsoft should just say, hey, we're not going to release games for the next 5 years. We're going to work on it. No. I just don't understand what's so fucking difficult for people to just agree because it's not wrong. I made a statement. If you have to fight this hard to get a $68 billion company in order to succeed, you have a bigger problem at your foundational core. You do. And Xbox absolutely does. But again, people don't want to hear it. Another person says, why do PlayStation fanboys only see this thing one way? Game Pass, console, PC, mobile, cloud. It's supposed to benefit all of that. And then somebody responds to him and says, because they are afraid that more good games like Starfield will be released exclusively and they cannot play them because they are too stubborn to get an Xbox. I shit you not. Think about what I just read back to back. One person trying to paint the picture, one Xbox fan trying to paint the picture that this is about giving more people more things. And then literally the person underneath them, also an Xbox fan, saying, no, it's because they don't want... They're not okay with exclusives and they don't want to buy an Xbox for exclusives. Like, dude, you can't make this shit up. Like, even they don't know at this point. Even they don't know what it is that's going on. I assure you, PlayStation players, Sony players, whatever, like, they have no problem buying a console for exclusives. They have no problem at all. Something for the normies. You're saying, what's up, MBG? Do you think Uncle Phil gets the boot if or when the ABK deal is officially dead? Do you think Activision will punish the UK market? Have a great day. Well, I can assure you one thing. Activision is not going to punish anybody. All right? If this deal falls through, Activision is going to pretend like nothing ever happened because they have to. They're going to need to... they're going to... don't get me wrong. Like, on the inside, the board of Activision is going to be slamming their heads against the wall and crying for probably years. But they're still going to have to run the business. And, I've always said that there's a lot of emotion, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, involved in business, but there is a cutoff. And the idea of we're gonna make this decision that makes no business sense and actually hurts our business out of spite, that's not going to happen. They're not going to punish the UK. They're going to need the UK, just like Microsoft is. So, pretty much what we're seeing right now is Microsoft trying to team up with Activision and basically, fight the UK government. It's so weird, but that's what's happening. And no, man, I think Activision, they're just going to continue business as usual once this is done. If they don't, if it gets blocked. And you're asking me if I think Phil's going to get the boot. No, I don't think Phil Spencer's going to get fired anytime soon. I don't think he's ever going to get fired. I mean, he's a board member at Microsoft now. He's the head of all gaming. I don't think Microsoft is going to look at this deal getting blocked as Phil Spencer's fault, but I do think it's going to put a lot more pressure on Phil Spencer, because that's the thing is, if they don't get Activision Blizzard, I mean, that was, them getting Activision Blizzard is supposed to make Phil Spencer's job a lot easier in terms of, okay, like now we can start moving up the chain. Now we can start, carving out more market share. And that's what the shareholders were expecting. And if this gets blocked, he's still going to have to make that happen. But now he's going to have to find another way to do it. And that's why it's like, look, is Phil Spencer's answer to this going to be to become the biggest hypocrite in the world and say, well, now we got to start signing third-party exclusives, like big AAA third-party exclusives? It might be. And I think that would be, I mean, look, I would call him a hypocrite, of course, and I would call Microsoft and other fans out, being like, oh, look, I thought third-party exclusives were bad. But I'd also understand that, yeah, it makes sense. That's pretty much one of their only options now. Why wouldn't they take it? That can't get blocked. So I appreciate that, something for the normies. Thank you for the 20, man. Sorry to make you wait so long to get to that. Josh, you're saying Microsoft threatening UK economy in hard times like this, and people are so brainwashed they think a company like that is somehow the good guys and care about them. You can't make this shit up, dude. You can, like, Microsoft's whole thing is they're claiming that what the UK is trying to do is bad for the consumer. It's what Microsoft is threatening is essentially the equivalent of like saying, burning down that shed isn't helping the homeowner, right? It's not helping the homeowner or the family in that home, burning down that shed. So Microsoft's saying like, so we're just going to burn down the house. Like that's basically what they're saying to the UK market. Actually, 3,000 coming in with another 5 memberships gifted. Big shout out to you once again, Exley 3000. Been coming in clutch during the stream. I have my membership goal set to 25 today. And Exley, you've been largely responsible to getting it up to 23 out of 25 members. So welcome to everybody who was just gifted memberships. And Exley, want to give you another big shout out because you have been very supportive this stream, and I very much appreciate it. So thank you, Exley 3000. Whiskey Gaming. Whoa, hold on now. Whiskey Gaming coming in with a 20 bomb. 20 memberships, bro. 20 memberships. I don't see those very often. A 20 bomb. Whiskey Gaming. Can we get some W's in the chat? Can we get some W's in the chat? Absolutely wild. Whiskey Gaming coming in, getting us up to nearly 45 members. Nearly 45 members in one fell swoop. Exley 3000 and Whiskey Gaming. Bro, dude. Thank you so much, man. Whiskey Gaming, a longtime member as well. Whiskey Gaming is a longtime member, as you can see by his badge, his loyalty badge, and he wanted to give the gift. I'm gonna get to the super chats. Whiskey, I'll read your super chat really quick since you just dropped that 20 bomb, man. Again, a member for 27 months at the Play Has No Limits Plus tier, saying had to make up for missing the last few streams due to work. Oh, thank you so much, man. That's very kind of you. That's very kind. Yeah, dude, we've been growing the memberships like crazy here, and the biggest, you guys, I mean, the members, like a lot of the longtime members, but also new members who are joining. A lot of you guys are responsible for growing the memberships. I see every time I put out a member community post, and I even when I put out videos, like I see people coming in and being like, yo, I didn't even know I was gifted a membership. Thank you to whoever gifted it. And it's really cool to see that. Exley3000 says, let's keep this train going. That's up to you guys. I'm more than grateful. Again, I only had it set to 25 today, and we got it up to 43 thanks to you guys. So I don't see a 20 membership bomb too often, but man, it's always cool to see it. It's always cool to see it when it happens. So thank you guys so much. Sincerely mean that. Whiskey Gaming Exley3000. Love to see it, guys. Thank you so much. I know I do it. I know I go on and on. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I can't help but just keep saying thank you. I just don't want those who are gifting memberships to take it as like, oh, thanks. And then I'm just like moving on and ignoring you. Just like I don't want people who are super chatting to think that I'm never going to read their super chats. I want to make sure I give everybody their time. You deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. You support the channel. And here's the most important thing, guys. For those who do enjoy the content, whether you enjoy watching the videos when I make them, because I do make videos pretty often, if you enjoy the daily streams and it's something you look forward to, it's something you like, and you're just like, you know what, I really like this MBG guy and his content and his channel, understand that it is because of those people and the individuals, who are gifting memberships, becoming members, and donating super chats that I'm able to continue to do this and essentially put out and produce this free content that you guys enjoy. And I just, I think it's a good way to frame it, because that's the thing. It's for a lot of people, it is, free content, and maybe there are a couple of ads. But without that direct support, it would be pretty much impossible for me to keep this channel running the way that I do. So give them a big thank you and a big shout out. And let me see, Josh, so where we were before that massive 20 bomb there was, Josh, you were basically saying Microsoft threatening the UK economy in hard times like this, people are brainwashed. And I was giving that analogy where Microsoft basically, look, we have to make it clear, Microsoft didn't say they're going to pull out of the UK market, but they're really trying to put pressure on the UK market, and they're really trying to insinuate and suggest that they might consider doing it. That is literally the equivalent of, oh, we're not just going to, look at that. They're burning your shed down. Isn't that bad? We won't burn anything down. And then when they're like, well, you can't stop us from burning the shed down. Like, okay, well, we're just going to burn the whole house down then. I mean, obviously that's a bit of a loaded analogy, but it's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And BT, you're saying Microsoft threatening the UK government with new business practices for the decision makes them look childish. That I do want to say this, and I don't mean to turn it into the whole console war fanboy thing, but I just want to say, man, I've seen so many people on the internet for months and months coming up with all different types of variations of a crying Ryan thumbnails for, Xbox content creators, making thumbnails, just talking shit, basically going on and on about how Sony's bitchy and all they do is whine and they cry. And now it's Microsoft. Microsoft isn't just whining and crying. Microsoft is throwing a full-blown tantrum, a rage tantrum. in front of everybody, creating spectacle. So I really am wondering, like, are these guys going to start making, let's get some Brad Smith crying emojis here. Like, are you guys going to keep that same energy, right? Like, I mean, I got to ask, are you going to do it? Because it's pretty bad. It's pretty, I would argue that what Microsoft's doing right now is a lot worse than anything Jim Ryan has done. Like, they're out here straight up freaking out on an entire government. It's pretty bizarre. And we got Chris B. Chris B, thank you, man. Thank you so much, with another 5 memberships gifted to add to the total to bring us up to 48. Chris B, you've also been gifting a lot of memberships, so I appreciate your contribution today as well. Big shout out to you, Chris B, and a big welcome to everybody else who was just gifted. And the dude coming in with another membership gift of his own, the dude wanting to get in on it, inspired by Chris B. You guys are awesome. I mean, really, you guys are awesome. And I do want to say, I was looking into some cat towers or some cat trees on the internet. That's something I hope to get in the coming weeks to put in the background here, because I know you guys like to see the cats. And they're not actually, none of my cats are in the room today, but they do spend a lot of time in here with me. And so I know if I could get a cat tree or a cat tower in the background, they'd probably hang out with us all the time during these streams, except for those times where I start to go absolutely berserk with my rants. They might get a little freaked out and run away, or maybe not. By this point, they're probably used to it. But thank you guys so much for all the membership gifts. We are at 49 new members today, just like that. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to the community once again. Gotta be honest, did not expect that today, because I thought I even set the bar too high by putting it at 25. We had a new record yesterday of new members, which was absolutely wild. And, I thought I probably should have lowered the actual goal today, because I don't want you guys to think I don't want to ever ask too much of you guys, but you guys show up in force once again. You're like, nope, no problem, man. 25, crush it like it's nothing. Practically double it. So seriously, shout out to this community. You guys are incredible. Very much appreciated. The Combo Clinic, you're saying if the EU blocks the deal as well, it would be hilarious if Microsoft had to play nice with the FTC. I hope Microsoft keeps the same energy if the EU says no. I'll tell you right now, if the European Commission blocks it, what I see happening after that is Microsoft drops it. They pay Activision, and they move on. I don't see how they would even try. Like, I don't know in which reality Microsoft tries to fight the FTC, the CMA, and the EU. I want it to be known, and this is something that I think people do need to pay a little bit of attention to, a little bit more attention to. I want it to be known that Microsoft, they look, I don't know that they need the European regulator to pass this, because to a lot of people, it seems like it's already over. Like, a lot of experts are saying no company has ever, there's been a 0% success rate. 0% success rate in appeals against the CMA's decision and ruling. So everybody's pretty much saying, like, this is done. Like, this is over. It's over. And I think you can kind of see the desperation come out of Microsoft at times like this, right? Where it's like, experts are saying it's over, and they're out here trying to literally bully a government. And this goes beyond. I'll be honest, like, Sony is completely on the sidelines right now, and that's to me, that's the craziest thing about this is Sony is very much, after yesterday, Sony was very much the meme of Homer Simpson just like walking back into the bush, because Sony, I mean, it's impossible to determine if they had any influence on this. I want to say I don't know. I mean, maybe they had some influence, but the reality is Sony got like really lucky here. Really lucky. And they got lucky because this is going beyond Sony. This is Sony reaping the benefit, believe it or not, of not being a $1 trillion company. Like the fact that Sony is just still like a multi-billion dollar company, which is still big, but they're not like, Sony's not up there with the likes of Apple and Microsoft and Meta and all that, right? And that's working in their favor because that's why there's a reason why we're literally witnessing Microsoft fight with the UK, with a government, the UK government, because there are governments like the US, or not the governments, but the regulatory bodies, the FTC, the CMA, they want to send a message to big tech and these big tech corporations. And the message that they want to send them is you are not in control of everything. And you can't be. You won't be. You're not like they want to send the message of like, you are not, just because you're one of the biggest companies in the world, just because you have an infinite amount of money doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. That's the message they're trying to send. And that is why Microsoft is freaking the fuck out and going berserk, because it really is a power struggle right now between the regulatory bodies, and big tech. And there's going to be a massive ripple effect. There already is. Like, there's a reason why everybody was losing their minds yesterday at the CMA's ruling. And I agree. I think that's a good message to send too. The message that's being sent to these companies and these businesses is not, you can't do anything. You can't use your money. They're just being, the message that's being sent is that you just can't do literally anything you want with no repercussions. You know what I mean? You can't just walk in and say, this is how it's going to be because I said so, because I'm the one with the most money. And I appreciate that. Because like I said, I'll continue to reiterate, Microsoft's money isn't going anywhere. They can still do many other things with that. The question is, will they? Now, as for Sony, I mean, the reason why I said in my title, Sony's watching Microsoft go berserk and punch air from afar is because, yeah, Sony's just kind of like, so we won? like they didn't even, like, they're like, we won. We did it. We didn't have to do it. Like, we didn't have to do anything. Or we haven't done anything. And yet somehow we won. So pretty interesting, man. Pretty interesting how it's all working out. RU46N2 Ray, you're saying one thing Xbox is not better at, the CMA, and you're laughing. Then we got Big Nab saying Jim Ryan makes money. Phil Spencer bleeds money. Oof. Is it true? Is it true? Miles Kino, you're saying cloud gaming is a threat to ownership. Absolutely. Tell me about it, man. I'm still out here trying to support physical games. I'm still out here trying to support physical games and physical media. And every year that goes by, it just feels like there's more and more conversation about how it's dead or it's dying. And it doesn't make me feel great. And so, when people talk about like cloud gaming, it's like, well, come on, man. Like, give me a break here, Give me a break. So you're absolutely right, Miles. That's why I try to encourage. That's why I always try to encourage people. Like, even if you're a full-blown digital, like you've embraced buying games digitally, I always try to encourage people, just consider on occasion buying one of your games physically if you can, because you want to always try to have that option at your disposal. If everybody were to decide to go all digital, then there would be no more that option would go away. There would be no more physical games at all. There is no more option to buy your games physically. And, you see what's happening with a game like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, where it's like, you buy the game physically and not only like half the game is on the disc, and you have to download the other portion. It's like, what? It's like, why? Just put 2 discs in there, man. You know, like people are gonna want to like in the future, people are not gonna want to have to download things. What if they don't? What if they're not able to? They won't even be able to play the game. Stephen Jones, you're saying MBG Cloud Gaming, in my honest opinion, is a gimmick. Plus, I want to have some semblance of ownership with my games. Also got my PS5 yesterday, and today they announced the Final Fantasy 16 bundle. Yeah, it's a tough break. Not a huge deal, though, right? I mean, the bundle that they announced, it's not like it's a limited edition. It's just a PS5 bundle. You get a PS5 and you get a digital copy of Final Fantasy 16. How do you guys feel about the Final Fantasy DualSense, the limited edition DualSense and PS5 covers, though? Japan only. I don't know, man. I feel like Sony's dropping the ball here. I really feel like Sony, like I think that they should make it available in like as many regions as they can. Like, I think people want that. You could still get it, I think, even though it's Japan only, but I don't know. I just don't know why they wouldn't just release it everywhere. Didn't they abandon Japan? No, Sony didn't abandon Japan. It's just not their primary market. It's still important though to Sony, definitely. And you know what? It probably makes sense why they made it Japan only, because Final Fantasy 16 is going to be the biggest explosion Sony sees probably this entire generation in Japan. Dude, the hype for Final Fantasy 16 in Japan is off the charts. So they're gonna see a massive explosion of PS5s being sold when this game drops in Japan. So Stephen Jones, I sympathize with you, man. But hey, you still got a PS5. Hard to be unhappy, right? Hard to be unhappy. Hope you're enjoying your games. It's always an awesome feeling when you upgrade to the next gen console. There's nothing quite like it. So I hope you've been enjoying it, man, and I appreciate the super chat. Big Turbo 2.0 on IG are saying people forget last gen in 2017. Phil said they are not worried about exclusives, including third-party deals. He does not like them. Now they are behind. Yeah, this is where I don't quite understand what Phil Spencer's like long-term strategy was. Like, I don't know if the reason why Phil Spencer said that was because he was trying to save money for the Xbox brand, and maybe that would look good to the upper management. I don't know if he really thought that maybe it's just not worth it. Maybe it's not going to do enough for Xbox. I don't know, but or maybe it's just that's how he actually feels. Like maybe Phil Spencer really just does feel like it's not a smart business move, or not smart, but maybe he just really does feel like it's not good. I don't know, man. Like, this is what I kind of don't understand about Phil Spencer's. I feel like Phil Spencer has had so many interviews over so many years, and he says so many different things that it's like I can't get a read on him at this point, you know? Like I fully expect that if this Activision deal does truly die, I fully expect that they're going to have to resort to doing some third-party exclusives. And Phil's going to have to completely walk back what he said. Even though it was a while ago, it's like, dude, people are not going to forget that. You know, you're in a position of power here at Microsoft and at Xbox. So people are definitely going to, you know, hang on to every word you say. Papa Moisture saying Disney did day and date, but failed on Disney Plus. Didn't that happen to HBO Max as well? Am I misremembering that? I feel like on HBO Max, I remember they tried to do the same thing. Like they wanted to release their big movies onto their service the same day that they hit theaters, and like it just didn't work. Like they almost killed it. They killed it like after a couple of months or something, or a couple of releases. Somebody please tell me if I'm wrong on that, but I feel like I'm remembering correctly. You're saying Wonder Woman 84 was released day and date and bombed. Wasn't Wonder Woman 84 considered a bad movie too? I don't know. I haven't seen it. See people in the chat saying hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button, guys, if you're able to. Hit that like button. Help the stream out. Godly Sir speaks a lot. You're saying, wake the F up, Samurai. We done effed it up again. Wake the F up, Samurai. Keanu Reeves' voice. Perfect Image, you're saying, what if Sony works with Amazon for cloud to compete? In the long run, that could be a viable option. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the long run if Sony has to turn to a company like Amazon and partner with them for their cloud ambitions. Sony they are in the process behind the scenes of working on cloud and everything else. So yeah, and we got Fred Vance. Welcome back to the stream, Fred. Dropping another 5 memberships. Fred, bro, thank you so much, man. Fred went berserk yesterday. We talk about Microsoft going berserk. Yesterday, Fred went berserk. I can't even tell you how many memberships he gifted yesterday, but it was by far a record. So thank you so much again for showing up, Fred, and gifting more memberships. And we got Exley 3000 gifting another one. So 6 new memberships gifted. Big shout out to you guys. Always keeping the train going. Never letting it stop. We're now at 55 members. Already crushed the goal. And you just keep it going. Very much appreciate it. A lot of people are going to be happy that they're going to have access to the first member exclusive stream. I'm probably going to do... Well, I think my goal is to do the stream tomorrow, actually. Yeah, I think the stream's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm going to put out a community post reminding everybody. But yeah, we're going to do the first ever members only stream tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good time. We'll do a little bit of reminiscing on Crackdown 3. When did Crackdown 3 come out? Was it 2018? 2019? What did 2019 MBG have to say about Xbox and Crackdown? We will find out. Sony's earnings is tomorrow. It's going to be a bloodbath. Oh, I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. That's going to be interesting. So yeah, thank you guys again so much for continuing to gift memberships. It's very nice of you. We are continually growing the memberships, and I plan to keep them growing week after week, month after month, till we become unstoppable. All right, Devil Shooter. Thanks for showing up, man. And no pressure. You don't have to do any timestamps, but anytime you do them, thank you again so much, dude. Very much appreciate it. Let me see. Space D. You're saying, look at that. Ukraine is the 7th economy to approve. Weird, this guy here telling me this is super bad for the entire industry. Well, here's the thing, man. I do want it to be known that I don't think... All right, listen. There are 2 different things we have to distinguish here, and I think it's important. On one side of the coin, there is Microsoft. Like, if the deal were to go through, on one side of the coin, it's Microsoft now owns Activision Blizzard. On the other side of the coin, it's now that Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard and they were able to acquire them and basically charge through the regulatory bodies, what happens next? I want you to understand that I was discussing at length my thoughts and feelings on Microsoft having Activision Blizzard. And I was at a point. And yeah, Big Nabs, real quick. Everybody who's listening, for those who don't know, if you want to be gifted a membership, click on any of the membership gift icons. We still got Whiskey Gaming up there. Fred Vance, you can click on the icons, and if you don't have it enabled already, it will ask you if you want to toggle on the option to be gifted membership. So you have to click to do that if it's not already on. Okay, just want to remind people of that because I forget that sometimes people just, they aren't aware. But I've talked about really quick, Kevin, you're saying, I hope you will be showing your pro Crackdown 3 video because I find it. Do I have a pro Crackdown? That would be even funnier, dude. I don't even, to be honest, I don't even remember making a pro Crackdown 3 video, but I will look for that as well. That will be funny. To how it started versus how it's going or how it went. That would be funny. I just want to say that I have talked about this acquisition in the context of assuming that it was going to pass. Like when we were getting all the reports saying that, look, the CMA is going to approve this deal, and once that happens, it's all downhill from here. As in, like, it's smooth sailing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I was under the impression, like, okay, well, people think I'm just always nothing but negative and cynical. My mindset shifted to, well, if it's going to happen and nothing's going to stop it, then what are some positives we can take away from this? And the positives that I was trying to take away from it are, well, number one, we don't have to hear any nonsense from Sony anymore. Sony can stop trying to act so weak and they can start coming out. And now more than ever, like, they'll have the pressure of, well, now Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard. You guys might have to start doing more. And I had to me, that's a good thing. I still expect Sony to continue to do more, even if Microsoft doesn't get Activision Blizzard. But to me, that's a positive. The other positive is I figured, this might entice Sony to start diversifying a little bit more and, focus a little bit more on, okay, let's work on some shooters, the shooter genre, not entirely, but put a little bit more emphasis on it. You got Bungie, and yeah, let's put on a showcase. And I also did try to extract the positive out of it that, look, even though I think if Microsoft were to just get Activision Blizzard, a publisher that big, I think this is ultimately going to lead to some potentially bad times in the long run for the gaming industry due to just mass consolidation. And I think it's all potentially going to go downhill depending. Like, I just don't have a positive outlook on it. I did also say that, it is at least nice that initially it's going to put more pressure on Sony. But that's why I'm saying there are two sides to the coin here. And even though I had accepted that I guess this is going to go through and there's nothing that can be done, it doesn't mean that I still didn't feel ultimately like, I don't think, like, to me, it just seems crazy that Microsoft can mess up this bad, fail this hard, and then just decide the way we're going to get out of this hole is we're just going to buy our way out. And then that will also potentially usher in the age of mass consolidation of big video game giants and publishers. That was always there. It's just a matter of, well, if it happens, it happens. I have no say in it. I can't stop it from happening. And so my best bet is to just say, well, that just happened, and this is the way it is now, and I'm going to have to just try to hope that Sony continues to do what they do best and do it even better. And turns out that's not what happened, though. So keep in mind, just because I'm not saying you have to agree with me, Space D, all right? If you think that everything I'm saying is nonsense and ridiculous, that's totally fine. Like, that's totally fine. I mean, I just appreciate you listening. Miles Kino, you're saying straight facts, Windows gaming is a monopoly. Miles Kino saying Windows gaming is a monopoly. And why you're saying I love capitalism, but Microsoft is crony capitalism, two different things. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like I say, you can't just put these things under, like, you can't generalize them too much. I mean, you can, but you're going to miss a lot of what happens in between. And some of the most important stuff happens on the in between, right? Hickzock, you're saying 68 billion, 130 times 500 mil games. Crazy. Miles Kino saying Microsoft is literally Yeltsin in the 90s and the oligarchs. Dude, you guys are going off in these super chats. I'm just like, what? Hold on, what? You're losing me a little bit. McBallsniff. You do realize this deal is not over. No, it's not over. But let me ask you, McBallsniff. God, I've tried so hard to say that name with a straight face. Let me ask you, what do you think the chances are Microsoft is going to successfully appeal? Knowing that the CMA it's never happened. It's never happened. What do you think the chances are Microsoft is going to be the first? Do not be surprised if in the coming weeks Microsoft announces that they're dropping it. Don't be surprised, I'm telling you, because this thing is going to get dragged out to 2024 and possibly beyond at the rate it's going. And you really got to ask, how much does is it that important to Microsoft? Is it that important? It might be. It might be. Actually, 3,000 again. Gifting yet another 5 memberships, keeping this train going. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you so much once again. Continually gifting, continually being generous, making our way up to 60 members today. Didn't see that coming. Really didn't. I never see it coming. You guys just keep showing up, man. Exley 3000 for the win. Let's get some more W's in the chat. That's the thing I'm trying to get going these days. Every time we get a 5 or more, we'll get W's in the chat. Thank you again, Exley. I don't want to spend too much time. I know you've said just keep it flowing. Very much appreciated. The train keeps chugging along. You're saying this community is great. F the algorithm. I love it. Exley for mod. Do you actually would you like to become a mod? I mean, you've definitely proven that you are a valued community member here. What a guy. Legend. Exley for mod. Well, you let me know, Exley, if that's what you would like. It's no pressure. You know, I am, as we continue to do more streams, I am going to be looking for more mods. So if you would like to be a mod, I can mod you. How do you enable GIFs? Somebody's asking. Click on the icon at the top of the chat where it says Exley 3000 gifted 5 memberships or Whiskey Gaming gifted 20. It's still up there, hanging around. Love to see it. You click that, it'll allow you to enable the ability to be gifted. But if you're saying you want to gift memberships and it's not letting you, it's likely due to if you're on an iPhone, you would have to go to desktop to do it, or you would have to, I think it's available on Android. For some reason on iPhone, it's not available yet. I'm assuming it will be at some point. Oh, by the way, Zanarkand, you're not a Zanarkand, do you want to be a mod, by the way, man? Jay Shako, you're saying you'd be up for YouTube mod? Zanarkand, you're saying yes. All right, I'm gonna add Zanarkand. I'm gonna add you as a moderator because you're always here for the streams. Jay Shako. I'm just trying. Jay, so Zanarkand, I know you're here a lot of times for the streams. Jay, I feel like you're here quite a bit as well. Mod him up. Whiskey Gaming, do you want to be a mod? Whiskey, I thought you were a mod. See, so I try to look for the two things. I look for how long you've been a member, but also how long you've been around. Like, not how long, but how frequently you're around in the streams. Fred, do you want to be a mod? Fred Vance, gifting another 5 memberships. Dude, thank you, bro. Thank you. Keeping it going. Keeping it going. Big shout out to you, Fred. And I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see in the chat. I don't want to miss. It's hard to keep up. Whiskey Gaming. I'm gonna make you a mod. Fred, you're saying MBG, I'm not always able to be here. Okay. Everybody's gonna become a moderator. I mean, I'll still leave it up to you, Fred. You know, it's you know, you're not able to be here all the time, but you're obviously an extremely loyal community member. You've been here a really long time, so you let me know, man. I mean, I feel like you've more than earned it. I couldn't see in the chat. Guys, let me. Did Exley respond? Did Exley respond? Did they want to be a mod as well? Shadow Moss, don't worry, man. MBG, read my super chat. I'm going to. I get too easily distracted. Exley said no. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no pressure. I only want people to, you know, for those who have been around, for those who are passionate about the community, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I know that modding can come with a bit of responsibility. Use it wisely. Use it wisely. Exley respectfully declined. Okay. All right, yeah, I missed it, so thank you for letting me know, chat. Very much appreciate it. Exley, you're saying, I just like being kind. I believe in paying it forward. Maybe one day. Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem, actually. Yeah, dude, the Twisted Metal show is apparently we're getting our first trailer for that tomorrow. So hopefully it's not a dumpster fire. I'm so nervous to see what that's going to look like. All right, I got to get back to these super chats. Let me see. The Furious, you're saying, goes to show Microsoft is the same bully as in the 90s. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, man. Microsoft, they just want to, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing, bro. They're straight up trying to bully the UK government. So don't even know what to say about that. Don't even know what to say about that. Am I going to react to the Twisted Metal on a live stream? Twisted Metal trailer on a live stream? Yeah, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that. I forgot to add these here too. If I do, so here's the thing. I am tomorrow. The priority is my members only stream. I want to make that clear. That is my biggest priority because I don't want my members only stream to be something that's just like auxiliary. I want to bring the energy. I want to have a good time. I want to interact with my members. So that's my priority tomorrow. Depending on like how I'm feeling and how much time I have tomorrow, I might try to do other things, like maybe a video. I want to say it's unlikely I'm going to do like a normal stream on top of a member stream. I feel like that might be a bit too much. I doubt I'll be able to do that, but the member stream tomorrow is the priority. Saying gym video. Who knows what the future may hold? Zanarkand Blitzer, I got 2 super chats from you, buddy. Sorry I had to make you wait a little bit. You're saying, part 1, MBG, I think the CMA are doing their job as a regulator. I remember when NVIDIA was going to acquire ARM chip manufacturer, everyone had fears that it would be bad for chip competition, and NVIDIA are already huge. You're saying here in part 2, they are already huge and they have tons of money and are dominant. The CMA blocked that acquisition. The CMA did good with blocking this Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. I mean, that's the thing, man, is people say I'm being, like, at least some people are arguing that I'm being closed-minded and cynical or just fanboyish. And I'm like, well, is it a possibility that maybe this is a good thing? You know, that's my challenge to those who are in favor of it, who have only been in favor of it, or, you know, just talk about it being only beneficial. Like, I challenge those to take a second to try to think, well, maybe shift your perspective a little bit. Because I can, that's the thing, is I am able on the fly to shift my perspective when needed. For example, if somebody does challenge me and say, do you see it any other way? Yes, I can see it another way. Like, I can see it from the perspective of the consumer that's just, hey man, I was excited to play these games on you know, to play them on Game Pass, and I'm disappointed that I'm apparently not going to be able to do that now. I was excited to not have to pay for Call of Duty every year anymore. I totally get that. And I you know, I don't feel like that person, that consumer that feels that way is wrong. The only part of this, well, it's not the only part, but even though I can see that perspective, I feel like it is the fact that I can also see another perspective that makes me, I can see multiple perspectives and have multiple perspectives. And with that, I'm essentially choosing the one that makes the most sense to me. Like, that's the one that, to me, like, that's the right perspective. And for me, it's the fact that while it is disappointing that you're not going to get these games on Game Pass potentially if this doesn't go through, what it does mean is that, like I said, number one, the message is being sent that publishers can't just be bought like it's like candy at a shop. Like, it just can't happen. Right? MBG, where's that penny? Actually, I don't know where that penny went. I should probably go find it. One day, Fred, you'll get that penny. One day. Another problem I have is, or, you know, at least from this perspective, another way that I view it is that, like, okay, look, maybe it is a bad thing on the consumer perspective or for Game Pass subscribers that you're not going to get Activision Blizzard games, and that is disappointing. But maybe try to, you know, view it from a different perspective where, hey, this could mean great things for Microsoft. This could mean that they can't just sit back and rely on getting the, you know, the easy money, so to speak, and the easy win of, we just bought Activision. Instead, they might have to do something else, something different. And I'm sorry, man. Like, I get it. Like, I get that, oh, Call of Duty and future, and maybe Diablo and other Activision Blizzard games in the future on Game Pass, and I save money. I get it. That's great. But I don't know, man. I guess I'm just the type of person where it's like, I'm more focused on, like, but like, what's new? Where's the new stuff? You know, how much new stuff do you have in development? What new stuff are you bringing to the table? And I just feel like if they don't get Activision Blizzard, a positive from that, from the opposing perspective, is, dude, they're probably going to have to get something else. And that something else might not be something expected, something that's already known, you know? And I think that that's an exciting prospect. So I can be open-minded, you know, I can be less cynical. And I think that that's just what's weird about seeing people respond to me that way, where they think I'm that cynical. I can be very cynical at times, absolutely. But it's like, what about all the times I've said that I just want to see Xbox like actually kick ass in a way that, I don't know, to me makes more sense. And I guess that's where sometimes we just have to agree to disagree, or some people I encounter, we just have to agree to disagree because, you know, somebody might say, well, you want them to operate and succeed in a specific way. And if they don't operate and succeed in that specific way that I like, then I'm going to be upset with them. And it's like, well, not necessarily. And I do feel the need to get a little bit defensive here, only because when Microsoft was acquiring Bethesda, that was a, you know, hold on. Ooh, okay, this looks like it could be a hot scoop here. Hey, you're saying MBG per Bloomberg. Phil held a meeting this morning. Yo, do we got a Bloomberg report? Do we got a Bloomberg report? An update? Breaking news? Let me see. Hold on. Why is Twitter freaking out on me right now? I might have to. So Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, right? Let me see if I can find him. Well, now I'm confused. Wait, I'm not seeing anything, dude. Is this, I don't know, is this breaking news? I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I gotta look a little bit deeper here. Maybe. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh, okay. Got it here. Okay, so it wasn't written up by Jason Schreier. Microsoft. Okay, so this is a new article that was just published by Bloomberg. And it says Microsoft Xbox chief seeks to reassure game staff on Activision. Okay. I'm going to read that. Before I do, though, I want to get through these super chats because I do apologize. I don't want to keep you guys. Those of you who are donating super chats waiting. You've been waiting long enough. So let me get through these super chats and then we're going to read this article. And I'm very interested to see what Phil Spencer had to say to the team. Mick Ballsniff in all capital letters. I love it. Says, if Microsoft pulls out, UK will learn a valuable lesson. Damn, bro. Mick Ballsniff, are you secretly Brad Smith? Dude, Mick Ballsniff is secretly Brad Smith on my channel, dropping some $2 super chats, which I appreciate. He's got some rage. Mick Ballsniff's got some rage towards the UK government. That's funny, man. I love that. Dude, this is why I love streaming these days. It's because you just never know. It just crazy fun stuff happens at times. Raging Ballsniff. Raging Ballsniff is secretly Brad Smith. He's tired of my slander against Microsoft. Let me see. We got Chris, you're saying, hi MBG, long-time daily viewer, but first-time super chatter. Keep up the excellent work. I really enjoy your content and agree with you. Thank you so much, Chris. And congrats on your first super chat, man. Sorry it took me so long to get to it, but I very much appreciate that. It's very kind of you. And I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has been saying kind things about me and the content and the channel. I may not respond to all of it, but believe me, whether you're leaving a comment on a video, whether you're saying it in the chat during a stream or anywhere else, like I usually do see it and I don't miss it, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you guys for that. Let me see. We got Drive By Joe. Oh, lost you for a second. Drive by Joe, you're saying to think Xbox was making deals with Call of Duty to platforms like Nintendo and not even have the deal sealed. Yeah, right? Like getting Nintendo all excited, like, yo, we're finally going to get Call of Duty, baby. And it's like, well, now Nintendo's pissed. Now Microsoft got Nintendo pissed. That is crazy. I will say that's, I think, the craziest thing I've seen during this whole thing is people hyping up games. And I blame Microsoft for this in their marketing. But the way Microsoft has talked about this, and therefore the way a lot of the fans have talked about it, is that it's a done deal, and we're going to get these games in Game Pass. And even now, I still, as you can see, I got like a super chat, and other people are saying like it ain't over yet. Like, okay, like I wouldn't hold out much hope, but people were already anticipating getting these games, and that's why it is sad to see like so many people were basically under the assumption that yes, this is going to happen. And then they're just like, oh, okay, I guess it's not. So I'm not going to get those games. So thank you for that drive by, Joe. Yeah, that is crazy. We got Ball Chinian. Okay. For a second, dude, I'm not kidding. When I read that name, I was like, please tell me I thought that was a real name for a second, and I just actually somehow misread it and called this person Balchinian until I looked at their profile picture, and yes, this person is meant to be called Balchinian. So definitely reassuring there, because I really thought I was going to have some explaining to do. Balchinian is saying, I see you have a wonderful community here. Just wondering what's stopping you from giving back to said wonderful community. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Balchinian, I did give away God of War Ragnarok on PS5 yesterday. I'm pretty sure that's a $70 value. Pretty sure. As far as I'm aware, I don't think God of War Ragnarok has gotten a price cut at all. So I did give away God of War Ragnarok. I am going to be giving away. I plan to. I have to double check, and I'm going to double check. I do plan to give away a digital copy of Call of Duty. Yes, I know. Ironically enough, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 during my members only stream as a thank you. So there'll be a giveaway during that, and I'll have to give I got to ask the person if they're okay with me shouting them out. But somebody was like, "Hey, man, I thought that was really cool that, you gave away God of War Ragnarok. I got this code for MW2, and it was funny because it's like, well, hey, Microsoft can't give you free Call of Duty, but MBG can." But yeah, I don't know how much Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 goes for right now. I'm assuming it's still full price, and I don't know how many people here like really interested in Call of Duty. But I'm assuming it's still full price. So give away a PS5. That'll have to happen at another time. But keep in mind, Balchinian, I am at max capacity right now, bro. It may not seem like it, but I am trying my best to keep up, delivering the content. I've been working overtime to try to flesh out these perks, and I've been doing all of this in a really short period of time. So hopefully you understand that I'm trying to give what I can and do what's within my means for my audience. And I guess at that point, all I can ask is that my audience hopefully is satisfied with it and is hopefully happy with it as well. So Balchinian, I don't know if you were here yesterday for the God of War Ragnarok giveaway, but that is, as I said as well, and I want to add this, as the memberships continue to grow, as the channel continues to grow, my goal is in the coming months and beyond, again, as long as I can maintain it, I do hope to make doing like giveaways and stuff like that. I can't promise it's going to be anything as major as like a PS5 necessarily, but I hope to do more consistent giveaways and just, gift memberships, all that stuff, all the stuff to help give back to the community as well, because you guys are coming out in force to support me. So, like I said, it's the early days. Oh, and yeah, I probably should say this because I don't say this nearly enough. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Sometimes I find it surprising how many people tune into the shows and the content and they're not actually subscribed. So if you're not, hit that subscribe button. Maybe I'll put a notification up for that as well. MBG, will I get 2 pennies if I top my gift numbers? Hell yeah, dude, I'll give you a quarter. I feel it just sounds so weird. It just sounds so weird. Like, you know, that's the thing is I did, Fred, I almost felt yesterday, I was like, should I just give this copy of God of War to Fred Vance? Because this dude gifted like the most amount of memberships, but I don't know if you would have wanted that to happen. And I don't want to make it turn into that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make it a thing where it's like the person who gifts the most or super chats the most or whatever, they're the one that's basically going to, like, I don't want to make it pay to win necessarily, because you probably could have bought like 2 copies or more probably of Ragnarok yesterday. So that Fred's saying he wants 2 pennies though. Maybe give away some PS Plus. I'm going to give away some Game Pass subscriptions is what I'm going to give away. I'm going to give away some copies of Redfall, some Game Pass subscriptions. Fred Vance should get a PlayStation Lite. All right, let me keep this going here. Chris Beer saying, I also bought a PS5 disc-based version just in case of back compat. Well, that's the way to go, dude, in my opinion. You know, I would say don't buy a digital console, a digital-only console, unless it's your only choice, because having that disc drive, I mean, look, I'll be honest, I don't know if you're going to get that type of backwards compatibility that you're talking about, but you never know. You never know, right? And it's a safe purchase, I think. It's the smarter way to go. That's just my opinion. Disc drive for the win. Disc drive for the win. See, we got Whiskey Gaming. You're saying hypothetical deal is blocked and Microsoft executives decide to shut down Xbox and sell its studios down the road. Which ones does Sony buy? Oh my God. Could you imagine that's how this plays out in the long run? Before you know it, you got Sony out here acquiring Ninja Theory and who knows who else. Tony Tone. Love that name. Tony Tone coming in with a 10 bomb. 10 memberships gifted. Can we get some W's in the chats for Tony Tone? Bumping us up to 70 members. Guys, you are insane out here. You are insane. 70 members. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you. Absolutely awesome. W's in the chat for Tony Tone. Tony, I don't know that I've seen, I don't know, is this your first time gifting memberships on the channel? I can't recall if I've seen you gifting memberships before. But either way, man, a 10 bomb coming in, 10 more people, welcome to board. Actually, no, my bad, we're at 75. We're beyond what I thought we were at. We are at 75. That is here's what I'm gonna do. So you guys tell me what you like better, okay? For those of you who gift memberships, or those of you who are thinking about gifting memberships, do you prefer to see the number on the screen climb beyond the 25? Because I feel like it's a little bit confusing. Like, because it almost looks like, is the goal 75, but we're at 25? Because I can adjust it as we go. Like, I can increase it to like 80 right now, or I can't even do that now because actually 3,000 comes in with another 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Exley. That's a lot of memberships gifted today by Exley 3000. More W's in the chats. More W's in the chats. Let's bring that up to 80. That is very, very kind of you guys. So here's what we can do now. I did this yesterday. I can keep doing this. I think this might make the most sense to do. So we're at 80 members now. So I can Just basically adjust it on the fly. Actually, I got to fix that. We're at 85 thanks to Fred Vance. Once again, dude, coming in with another 5. Bro, you guys are W's in the chat. Got to keep the W's going. You guys getting this train going. We got Tony Tone, 10 memberships. Exley, 3005. Fred Vance, 5. In total, 85 members gifted. My original starting point was 25 members, and once again, you guys utterly destroy it and obliterate it. No mercy. Thank you guys so much. It's always, see, this is what I mean. Like, this is why I'm glad that I waited until the end of the week to do the members only stream, because there are going to be a lot of people now, probably people who aren't even aware. They're just going to see the stream go up, and they're not even going to be aware that they're not even going to be aware that it's a members only stream, because they're not even aware that they were gifted a membership. So awesome. Really appreciate it, guys. MBG is going to run out of available gifted subs. You know, I don't know how that works. Does anybody know how that works? Like, I don't know if the gifted sub community is it a pool of, like, I know it goes beyond people who are just in the stream. Like, do people have to tune into the stream and then leave and then they can get gifted? Or is it any one of my subscribers? You would think I would know this, but I actually am not sure. You're saying, is there a limit? I don't know. Because, like, you know, on my channel, I have 98,000 subs. So if it's like any subscriber can be gifted, then at that point, it means we have an upper limit of 98,000 people, which is obviously like never, that's more, that'll never run out, you know? You're saying it starts going to possible targeted reviewers. That would make sense. RP Gaming, you're saying, I think if you're subbed, you're available to be gifted. I see somebody in the chat saying, I'm not sure who that is. Actually, I think I may have come across them a couple times. You're saying they gift 5 every 25 they get. Trust me, I have plans, man. I have plans. It may not seem like it. It's the way YouTube works. It's not my fault. I have plans. Okay? I have plans. I'm going to be gifting memberships of my own. I'm going to be doing membership gift bombs of my own at times. It's good. I'm building up to it. Don't worry. Okay? Don't worry. Because dude, I love the energy, man. I love the energy. All right. I see people in the chat asking me to stay on track here. All right. Let's get back. Shout out to everybody gifting memberships. Very much appreciated. Yeah, Whiskey Gaming. I don't know, bro. Could we see Microsoft shutting down the Xbox division, selling their studios, Sony buying them up? Man, I don't know, man. I think at that point, if that ever happened, Microsoft would refuse to sell any of those studios to Sony. No way. MBG, blow us a kiss every membership. Come on, this is getting creepy. This is getting creepy now. Shadow Moss, you're saying at this point, I don't even think it is about games. Microsoft has another agenda in mind, and I don't even think they care about Xbox or any other console. Skynet motivation. I mean, here's the truth, Shadow Moss. It is impossible for us to know exactly what Microsoft is trying to achieve. I mean, exactly. We don't know. Because the only thing we do know is we cannot 100% trust what they say, and that what they say, it's likely a little bit different. And the same goes for pretty much all business, all corporations, all PR and marketing. You can never 100% take it for face value. You always have to try to read between the lines a little bit. And so, Shadow Moss, you're presenting a scenario where there might be a much more nefarious agenda, something that goes far beyond anything anybody can see. I mean, to be honest, I can't say whether you're right or not, but what I can say is that I'll tell you right now, the CMA and the FTC seem to believe so. Absolutely. So your theory is not nearly as crazy as it may sound on the surface, because believe me, in the face of many other regulatory bodies just giving the A-OK and approving it, you have some of the biggest out here, that being America's regulatory body in the FTC and the UK CMA. They're both coming together and saying, no, there's something about this stinks. The whole thing stinks. So you might not be that far off, Shadow Moss. If you have any input to say what you think their agenda is, by all means, let us know. Zero Steel says, all right, I'm gonna change over to PC because my phone battery's almost dead. Damn, yeah, we're oh my god. I did not realize how late it was and how long I was going. Dude, I'm over the 3-hour mark now. I keep saying every day, like, oh, I can't keep doing 4-hour streams. It's too much. And like every day. Hold on one second. Shadow Moss, you're saying, MBG, read my super chat. I got you, bro. Game veteran and member for 17 months. You're saying Microsoft were overconfident and they are paying the price. I agree. I think Microsoft was way overconfident. And I think that trickled down. That trickled down to I think the fan base as well, to a degree. And then we have Kipford saying, about to watch your last stream, then come back to this one, but FXbox. Dude, Kipford just drops in the streams just to say FXbox. No, I appreciate that, Kipford. Yeah, last stream was crazy, dude. Last stream was crazy. It was fun. That was a good time. I mean, this is a good time too. Inspector Guru, you're saying, for some reason, these streams be the best, with a salute. Thank you so much. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, my goal is to foster a community. You know, I've been getting some pushback from some other viewers saying that I'm facilitating a super toxic community. You know, I'm only inviting negativity. And I understand from their point of view why it seems that way, but the reality is it's not always going to be like, not every stream, certainly, if I continue to do this going forward the way I want to, it's not just going to be, let's just talk about the negative Xbox news and the thing. Like, no, dude, look, I have watched other PlayStation content creators and other PlayStation podcasts, and I noticed that there's kind of there's this type of situation that has been created, and I decided to align myself with it, which is, well, you are a PlayStation dude, you're a PlayStation creator, and that's clearly what I am, and I made it clear. And there's kind of this, there's like this kind of, sometimes it's spoken, but a lot of times I guess it's viewed as like an unspoken agreement that, well, if you're a PlayStation dude, then you don't talk that much at all about Xbox or other platforms. Because you're biased, like you have a bias. And that's where I just realized, like, so what? Like, just because I have a bias and a preference doesn't mean I can't also see things differently and view things in an objective way when I need to. This is what I don't understand. And that's the whole thing is, you know, some people have said, like, well, you know, it just seems like you never have anything good to say about Xbox. It's like, I do say good things about Xbox when I feel there's something good to say. But the thing is, unfortunately, those few things get completely overshadowed by all the bad things. And let me tell you, the reason why there have been so many streams and so much content seemingly focused on Xbox these past like 3 weeks, it's because have you not? I mean, surely I know you guys have. And I'm talking to the people who seemingly think I'm just purely trying to be toxic. Have you not been seeing what's been going on with Microsoft week after week? And I realized that the only time at this point that I feel like I really shouldn't talk about Xbox or any other platform, even PlayStation to a degree, is when I come across and like, oh, here's a game and here's a product, here's a service, whatever it might be. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not very interested in it. It's not speaking to me. It seems to be good. Everybody seems to, like most people, the general consensus is there's nothing wrong with this. You just have to decide, is it for you or not? A good example of this is Starfield. For me, I don't see any major problems with Starfield. The only problem that I could foresee with Starfield is the day where Microsoft may have to come out and say it's going to be 30 FPS on the Series X. Like, I'm going to pay attention to that, and I'm going to point out that that's not good. That's bad for Series X owners. That's bad for everybody. Maybe not the most surprising thing, but generally speaking, I don't have a problem with Starfield. It looks like it's going to be a fine game. And based off what I can tell, it looks like it has the potential to be a really, really good game. And a lot of people are excited for it. The problem is I'm not excited for it. I'm not interested in Starfield. Now, does that mean that I'm not interested in any Xbox games? No. The day that I'm waiting for is when Xbox reveals another game at some point that I'm actually really interested in, but like most people are like, yo, this looks like shit. That's going to be an interesting day if it happens. But I'm one of the driving reasons I'm actually really looking forward to Xbox's summer showcase when they do it. I think second week of June, if I'm not mistaken. It's because I'm Magnum Gaming. That's funny. Magnum Gaming says a priest has to talk about the devil too. Damn, that's a hell of a way to put it. I don't know if it's that extreme, but maybe, yeah, I guess maybe that is an appropriate. And in these past couple of weeks, I would say yes, that's an appropriate analogy and comparison. That's funny though. That's a pretty funny one. But like, I am actually looking forward to Microsoft's showcase because I want to see, like, are they going to show State of Decay 3 gameplay? Like, am I going to get to see what this game's going to be like? Because I very much want to see that game, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Am I going to finally get to see more Hellblade 2? You see, the thing about Hellblade 2 is we did get that gameplay demo. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was like a year and a half ago. It was a while ago. But we did get a gameplay demo of Hellblade 2, but it was on rails, and it looked great. It looked awesome. It was intense. She's being chased by some kind of giant creature, and she's throwing spears, but it was absolutely on rails, and it looked good. But I'm like, I want to see some like core gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see some straight, like, what's the combat? How is the combat improved? You know, that's what I want to see, and I'm hoping we're going to see that. And I'm also hoping that maybe there could be some surprises. You know what I'm not looking forward to is the half-hour presentation of Starfield at the end. Like, I could care less about that. I couldn't care less about that. I mean, if I tune into Xbox's show, obviously I'll watch it till the end. But there are things that Xbox has that I am, like, I wonder if we're going to see Fable finally. You know, are we going to see some Fable gameplay? This is the type of stuff where it's like, what about the Perfect Dark game that's in development? These are things that I want to see. You know, I'll be honest. I know Xbox fans are hyped about Bethesda and like, oh, dude, we got, well, to be fair, I don't know how many people are out here being like, we got Redfall. But I know that it's like, we got Redfall and we got Starfield. And it's like, that's great. But dude, I'm not, I don't, when I said I want to see some good games from Xbox, I was talking about like their games, you know what I mean? Like from their studios. I know Bethesda is owned by Xbox, but you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't saying I want to see Bethesda's games, if that makes sense. And it's okay. Like, I don't mind it. I think it's fine. These are the games that they have that are apparently supposedly ready to go. Am I going to play Jedi Survivor? Yeah, I'm planning to. I might wait a little bit. Apparently, it's coming in kind of hot, and it needs some it needs some patches, which is weird. So, you know, I'm at a point where it's like, I don't know. I'm at a point where it's like, should I just wait? All right. So the way I'm going to end this stream, not ending it yet, but the final thing we're going to do is I got this article up. Fred Vance, you're saying, when we getting Hellblade 2 gameplay? I wish I knew, Fred. I wish I knew. I feel like this game should have been out already, but it's not. So your guess is as good as mine. I want to end this stream by reading this article. It's a new report that just came out from Bloomberg. The title reads, Microsoft Xbox chief seeks to reassure game staff on Activision. Microsoft executives sought to reassure workers in the Xbox gaming unit that there's a way forward for the approval of the company's planned $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard, while emphasizing that its success in gaming isn't solely dependent on the deal. The acquisition was vetoed Wednesday by UK's antitrust watchdog, a potentially fatal blow for the industry's biggest ever deal. At an all-hands meeting for division employees Thursday morning, Microsoft gaming chief Phil Spencer acknowledged the company's disappointment, saying the UK's decision will slow the approval process, according to a person who attended the meeting. Still, he said Microsoft's desire to pursue the deal hasn't wavered, said the person, who asked not to be identified, discussing an internal event. Spencer told staffers that Microsoft President Brad Smith was up at 2 a.m. Seattle time Wednesday drafting a response to the UK Competition and Markets Authority. He said Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood, who oversees acquisitions, held a senior leadership meeting the same day. The Xbox chief said the acquisition was intended to speed up Microsoft's gaming plans, but doesn't represent the entirety of the company's gaming strategy, which would move ahead even without Activision, the person said. So there we go. That's important to understand. Microsoft is already laying the foundation because they understand how fatal of a blow this might be. They're letting everybody inside of Xbox, the division, and the gaming division know that if this doesn't happen, we're still we're going forward. And they're basically trying to prepare people that it might not happen. It's actually seeming like it's not. Now, they're saying they're going to keep pursuing it, but there you go. Now they're finally admitting that, okay, it might not happen. It continues by saying, the CMA said concerns about the deal couldn't be solved by remedies such as the sale of Call of Duty, other solutions, and that's it. That was actually a much shorter article than I expected. So short, sweet, and to the point. And basically, what's going on here is, Microsoft. This is such a serious thing with the CMA blocking it that they had to hold a meeting with staff, and Phil Spencer had to come out and reassure everybody that they're still chugging forward with this and they're not giving up on it. But on top of that, I think it was Amy Hood, the CFO, that has to come out and say, look, like, we're still going to continue doing what we do, even if it doesn't go through. And so you can tell that the shit is kind of hitting the fan over there at Microsoft, understandably, where now they have to have an all hands on deck meeting and basically come out here and try to console people. I don't know. Brad Smith isn't sleeping and he's busy writing to the CMA. So it's, yeah. You know what I want to hear? I can't help but notice that Microsoft seems to be withholding, what is your plan? Like, you say that they say in their meeting that, well, we have plans that are beyond Activision Blizzard, and it's not like our entire gaming plan hinges on Activision Blizzard, even though that's how we're acting. I would love for them to explain, like, okay, well, what's the scenario? Like, what's the next step in the next plan? Because obviously they have one. Surely they do. If this doesn't go through, if no matter how hard you try, it doesn't go through, like, what is your next plan of action? Plan B, essentially, which there has to be a plan B, right? I don't know, man. Like, to me, I don't know. I'll be honest. Like, the vibe I get from this article written up by Bloomberg is, this to me feels like those times when you're working in the office and the manager or the boss comes out and, is like, okay, so I know you've all seen the negative reports and the bad headlines and you're all probably worried and concerned. Well, I'm here to assure you that everything's fine. Continue about your business. No need to panic. Nothing to see here, and we'll get through this. And I feel like it's basically, it's like, is everything fine though? Like, what is the plan here? I guess right now the plan is to fight it. And you see how it doesn't make any sense, though? You see, like, it kind of doesn't make any sense because they're coming out here and they're trying to reassure their employees that, well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, we have it under control and we're going to keep fighting it and we're not giving up. But it's not the only thing we're relying on. It's like, it's kind of at odds here. It's like, well, if you're not relying on it that much and it's not that important, like, then why are you, like, why are you coming out here and screaming at the UK government and trying to pick a fight with the government? Like, it just sends a different signal. It's mixed signals. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like Microsoft is sending mixed signals. And to be honest, like, I wouldn't believe Phil. Like, I wouldn't listen to anything Phil said. I'm just, and I'm not saying it's because he knows. I don't think even he knows. I just think it's like, dude, this shit sounds like it's over. Alex Mercer, the prototype, you're saying, hey, MBG, just got back from work and heard about the CMA block of ABK/Microsoft. Insane time the gaming industry is in right now. Like, damn, dude, LOL. Yeah, it is wild, man. It is absolutely wild. I don't, yeah. I don't know what happens at this point. I got to be totally honest with you guys. Like, I do feel exhausted by all of this. I do. Like, I feel like there's been so much time and focus put on Microsoft and Xbox and this deal. And, I wish I could say that there's some really exciting things that Sony's doing right now. But, the only thing that Sony really has done is announce the Final Fantasy bundle, and they put out their first image of the Peacock show of Twisted Metal, which I don't know, man. We'll have to see that trailer. That's about it right now. So I am eager to shift the focus, hopefully in the coming weeks, absolutely, to a Sony showcase, some more PlayStation PlayStation stuff happening. I'm just quickly perusing Twitter to just see if anything else happened, anything else came out. Doesn't seem like it. So, yeah. Oh man. What a crazy time. It really is a crazy time. Yo, something else I missed too is it's worth noting the CMA straight up came out and said that they don't believe Microsoft when Microsoft says we can get Call of Duty running on the Switch. All right, guys. Let's close out this stream with a quote. You guys, let me know in the chat if you know who said this quote. Name the individual responsible for this quote. Quote: I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger. End quote. Who said that? Who said that? Jim the Goat Ryan. The boss man. It's funny. Good old Jimmy. Isn't that just crazy? Isn't that like the craziest? To me, that's the craziest twist and turn of all of this, honestly. Here we go. Really quick. Dude, I see Ryan McCaffrey of IGN. He's the Xbox guy at IGN. I mean, I think Ryan McCaffrey is a pretty cool dude, but he put out this tweet. He quote tweeted an article from IGN where the CMA says Nintendo platforms aren't technically capable of properly running Call of Duty. And Ryan McCaffrey says, because the CMA are expert game developers, question mark, what the F? This is nonsense. Seriously. Like, dude, come on now, bro. You get like, no, they're not expert game developers, but who the fuck needs to be an expert game developer to look at the Switch and look at modern day Call of Duty and say, yeah, I'm pretty sure this can't run properly on that console. Come on, bro. Like, come on. Like, that's nonsense. Now, here's the one thing I will say. The one thing the CMA might not be taking into account, and I don't know, this could be due to Nintendo's super secrecy. If you were to tell me, well, the plan is to get Call of Duty running on the next console, the upcoming next-gen Nintendo console, which presumably is going to be another type of Switch, that I would believe. That I would believe. And I think that there's a good chance they could probably make some type of native version in that sense. But as it stands now, bro, like, there's no way. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't believe it. I don't, like, how could you get modern day Call of Duty running on a Switch? No way. Saying Hogwarts is coming to Switch, I gotta see that. I gotta see that. You're saying The Witcher 3 on Switch is so bad. I mean, oh my God, that is on the Switch, isn't it? What does that look like? If saying if The Witcher can run, so can COD. 144p on Twitch. Nah, that's a lie. That can't be real. 144p on Switch? Nah. 720p dynamic resolution, that makes more sense. Well, okay, I don't know, maybe. Is it 540p? I you know, at what point do people ask the question? It's not a matter of can we get the game to run on the Switch. The question should be, should we get the game? Like, do we want to get the game running on Switch? Should we get the game running on Switch? I don't know, man. Like, I'm just saying that. I know people are like all up in arms right now and they're like, I can't believe they said that. Like, look, man, out of all the things the CMA said, that's not the craziest thing. Like, it's definitely not. Like, the CMA saying we don't think the Switch is technically capable of running Call of Duty, like modern day Call of Duty. I don't think that's the craziest thing they've said. I mean, could they be wrong? Absolutely. But to act like, oh my God, you guys are being paid by Sony. What are you guys smoking? It's like, it's not that crazy. Come on. Because my question is, if it can run on Switch, why the hell isn't it? That's what I like. That's the thing that eludes me here. Is it's like, it's not like Activision is saying, well, we just don't want Nintendo money. Hell no, dude. Activision wants Call of Duty everywhere. Everywhere. And a lot of people, if they could get Call of Duty on Switch, they'd make a lot of money off of it. But it's not. And you have to ask, why? And I think that's a good question. Because I'll tell you right now, my gut instinct, if I had to assume that answer, why isn't Call of Duty on Switch? My gut instinct is to not assume it's because Activision doesn't want that money. They don't care about Switch sales. That doesn't make any sense. My gut instinct is because they can't get it to work on Switch. Otherwise, it would be on Switch. I mean, the Switch has sold way more units than Xbox. Now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it is kind of shocking that Call of Duty is not on Switch. Now, like, the more I think about it, I'm like, that's a lot of money left on the table, dude. That's a lot of money left on the table. Saying Apex runs on Switch, though? That's true. Yeah. 120 plus million Switches out there. What that would be wild. Imagine if that is actually why. Imagine if Activision was just like, we're good. That would be mind blowing. I would have to rethink my whole outlook on Activision. Like, wait, greedy Activision? All right, let me see. Here's an Arcane Blitzer. We'll close it out with your super chats, man. You're saying part one, MBG, whatever happened to your MBG Discord server? One day I opened up Discord and it was gone. Did you announce its demise? When? And part two, you're saying, did Thanos MBG, which is MBG's evil alien cousin, did he snap MBG's Discord server to dust with his Infinity Gauntlet? Jay Shako, William Aguilar, and myself were mods. No, Zanarkan, nothing crazy like that. No, I have to admit I didn't handle it very well. I don't know. I just kind of felt like I had to just rip off the Band-Aid. And I do apologize to anybody. We didn't have that many people in the server, but for those who were in there, I do apologize for that. I definitely could have handled it better. The reality was I just felt like I just couldn't keep up with it. And it was like stressing me out for some reason. I don't know why. Like something about Discord gives me a little bit of anxiety where I'm like, it feels like too much. It just feels like there's always just this chat room that exists, and at any moment I can be in there and I don't know what's going on, and it's overwhelming. And I also felt like, people were expecting of me to like, hey man, like come into the Discord, like it's your Discord and you're offering it here, and it was something I was having. Like to be honest, I just didn't like using it. That's really what it came down. I just didn't like using Discord. And I tried, and I started to get like bothered where I'm like, I don't know if I can properly manage this. And I don't know that I didn't want to keep people thinking that, hey, I should become a channel member so I can get into this Discord, knowing that I didn't like using it and I didn't want to be on it and I didn't interact with it, because I feel like that would be misleading, right? Like I feel like if I were to make another Discord server, I would like have to say in one of my perks, like, and I'm not going to be there. You know what I mean? And I feel like that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this. You guys can let me know. I feel like, does that defeat the purpose of having a Discord server? Like if I'm not going to be involved with it and not use it, do you still want it? Because if the answer to that's yes, then in the future we could potentially get another one going. We have a lot more members now. And if it's just something that you guys want to use as like, this is where we can exist, like basically a perpetual chat room where just the members can hang out, then I wouldn't mind making that. And, I would have to find somebody I trust to be in charge of it. But that's the whole thing. That's really why. It's because I don't know. I didn't like the experience. I don't know why. It didn't gel. So that's pretty much all it comes down to, Zanarkand. And again, I do admit I handled the closing of the server very poorly. And that was probably just because I didn't know like what else to do other than I guess I just have to shut it down. So rest assured, if I ever do one again, you guys will know. And if I ever do one again and decide to shut it down, you'll get definitely a warning there. Saying just have one channel, don't overcomplicate it. That's the thing. Like I'm already scaling up a lot of things here on the behind the scenes with my channel and trying to do more, as you can see. And I don't want to spread myself too thin. I don't want to spread myself thin to a point where it's like I don't want to begin to neglect other things. So I figure the way we're doing it now, or how I plan to do it, member only streams, giving you guys early access to videos, and just keeping these streams going on a regular basis. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. So saying, you still here, MBG? Yeah, I am going to head out now though. I definitely don't want this to be another 4-hour stream. Again, for anybody who maybe isn't aware, right now I have a video out that's members only. I'm probably going to put it publicly to everybody at 5 p.m. Eastern, so in about 20 minutes, to get that out there. And yeah, I thought that this was another good show, and I have to give a big shout out once again and thank you as always the end of all of my streams. To everybody who gifts memberships, the membership gifting has been just on another level these past couple weeks, and it's been awesome to see the community give in that way and grow. So thank you guys so much. And Fred Vance coming in with another 5 before we end to round us off at 90 members. Dude, Fred, I don't even know what to say at this point, man. You've given so many memberships. Easily has to, by this point it has to be like, I mean, I don't know if it's in the hundreds, but definitely over 100. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Like you've had to have gifted over 100 memberships at this point, which is insane. Like that is crazy. So big shout out to you, Fred Vance. Big shout out to everybody. We got a 20 bomb today. We got some 10 bombs. Exley 3000, Whiskey Gaming, Tony Tone. There were others as well. I'm trying to give everybody a shout out that has gifted because you deserve it. If I miss you, no worries. No worries. And Chris B coming in with another 10 bomb before we end. Chris B, W's in the chat. W's in the chat for Chris B's 10 bomb. I feel like I'm almost calling you Crispy. And Fred Vance's 5. Thank you so much, man. That is wow. That's the perfect way to end the stream, dude. I think that brings us that brings us up to a solid 100 new members. Yet another 100 members, guys. We are growing. We are growing rapidly, and this is exciting. These are exciting times, I think, on the channel. These are exciting times, dude. At the rate things are going, by the time we get to the PlayStation Showcase, I'm just gonna do a members only showcase reaction. No, can't do that, obviously, but man, it's, that's the whole thing. You guys, you keep coming out, you keep gifting. How many days in a row can MBG hit 100 memberships? Dude, I don't know, man. I had the original goal set to 25, and here we are about to end it. And thanks to Chris B, Fred Vance, and everybody else, we end it at a solid 100. You guys are incredible, really. I really appreciate it. And so my hope, as I said, is to continue to give back to you guys as time goes on. I'm going to continue to do that as time goes on. I plan to just keep the energy levels up. To me, that's the most important thing for you, for the viewer, for the members, for anybody. The most important thing is making sure I can keep my energy levels up, keep it consistent, and keep delivering the content. And I think that with you guys showing this type of support, as long, if that support can remain consistent and it can keep going and keep climbing, it's going to be no problem. It's going to be no problem. Very soon, MBG will take off the hat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about doing like if we hit 100K subs, I'll take the hat off. But I feel like we're so close to 100K subs. I feel like I gotta make it something that's a little bit further out there. But I don't know. I'll figure out how I'm gonna do that. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to all the fun times we have ahead. Yeah, we get to 10,000 members. I'm gonna get that Mark Cerny tattoo. Oh man, that would be wild. Imagine that. Imagine what you see a vlog where, all right, guys, I'm going to the tattoo shop, get my Mark Cerny tattoo. Got a flex before I leave. I'll give you guys a flex. I will warn you, I did work out again yesterday, and I'm even more sore than I was. I'll give you a quick bicep flex. 100 members, let's go. Let's flex on you. 100 members, baby. Strong community here. Can't do it without you guys. Gotta get that bicep flex. I swear, I totally forgot. I was gonna bring up my dumbbells. And 100 members, let's go. Let's do 30 reps. No, I appreciate it, guys. Damn, you need to let your body heal. Yeah, I am taking today off, man. I hit the gym pretty hard the past 3 days, and I'm feeling it. I am feeling it, especially in the back. Do we get our members only jackets now? If only, man. If only. All right, guys. I'm gonna go get my protein in. I'm going to go get my rest. And I just want to say thank you again. Another awesome stream. Alex Mercer, the prototype. Oh, sorry, dude. You know what? I almost left the stream without reading your final 2 super chats. You're saying the fact that big boy Ryan ended up getting what he wanted at the end where he thought he lost and is shocked of the news was honestly the funniest thing ever. Absolutely, it was. And then you're saying take off the hat now. Can't do it yet. I am freshly shaven though, but I still gotta let the beard grow in. So thank you so much, Alex Mercer, for the super chats. Thank you guys for the gifts and all the gift bombs. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's today's stream. Look forward. I just want to say one last thing. Look for the community post. I'm going to put a community post out either late tonight or early tomorrow, letting everybody know what time the members only stream is going down. And I should be able to set it up the exact same way that we do regular streams. If you're a member, even if you're not a member, I think it's going to show the stream and it'll let you know that it's members only. So look for that tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I will catch you in the next stream. Until then, take care, everyone.